got eye black.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you can't have that sun getting in your eyes. You got to have some eye black on. But no, a fun game. Those fans have been banned from the game tonight. MLB asked for the Yankees to ban them. They got a refund, and I guess that's the story inside the story of them getting banned. And now they're wondering if that's a lifelong ban. Is that just a today ban? What does that have in store for it?
And see, I was about to crack a Pete Rose joke, and I can't do it. I can't.
Well,
because he did have the lifetime ban.
That's right. No,
for something far more serious.
Far more serious than what those two players did.
They weren't arrested?
No, they were not arrested. They were just kicked out. They supposedly, the story I was reading, they get escorted out. They're out of the game. They asked the security or people with the Yankees that escorted them out, hey, will we be able to get in the game tomorrow? Because one of them is a season ticket holder. The other was a friend of the season ticket holder. And they said, yeah, you'll be fine tomorrow. We just got to get you out of here today. They said, okay. Then today, MLB said they can't come back today. So they got a phone call, hey, we can't let you out the game today. We'll give you a refund for the tickets. But if you show up to the game today and you try to get in, you will be arrested. So there has been the threat of arrest.
So, Britt, why they just don't go Bobby Valentine? Just put the nose on and the mustache and make your way in, right?
That'd be great.
Right?
That's good.
I would love that.
Now, how many cameras you think are on the property of Yankee Stadium?
Oh, a ton.
I mean, for a lot of very serious reasons.
Absolutely.
In New York, security, if something Department of Homeland Security and Secret Service and FBI and everybody and ATF, everybody's watching that place because we don't want anything to happen anywhere. But New York has sadly been a target before, and reportedly always on the list for evildoers. But if they tried to get in, they're not going to be ticket taker at gate 19 doesn't know who they are.
No. That's I would love. I mean, that would be a great. There's somebody that could pay them money to just be like, hey, we're gonna get you some sort of something to wear. They're not gonna notice you, and we're gonna give you this camera. We want you to record.
Jimmy Kimmel ought to do that as an act, shouldn't he?
That'd be great. Somebody
as
should.
a skit.
Yes, on one of those late night shows.
Who's the late night guy on NBC, Darian? You ought to know this. You're the NBC family
is
guy.
That Fallon?
I don't know.
Fallon,
I don't know
right?
that.
You mean it's for
no? He's ABC.
Oh, is he ABC?
Seth Meyers.
Oh, like the comedy type stuff.
Yeah,
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
The Late Late Show.
Yeah.
They ought to do that as a skit.
I think that'd be fantastic. That or like somebody on YouTube. I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of avenues for this. Maybe we should.
Wide open on YouTube.
We could.
No. I don't do anything to imperil that FCC license.
We put our money together and get some good content. But
no. Bad idea.
Well, Game 5 tonight, though, and we'll see. Maybe the Yankees have a life. Jack Flaherty, our old friend with the Cardinals, going up against Garrett Cole. That should be a good matchup tonight.
Yeah. Guess another Game 5 tonight. Game 5 at FedEx Forum for the Grizzlies this year.
Yes, and I know y'all talked a lot about the game against the Bulls for Monday night. So now the Grizzlies 2-2 on the season, and tonight against a Brooklyn team that's kind of the same conversation we had against the Jazz. I think a lot of people are down and out on this team this year. They'll probably be a team that's in lottery conversation, and we'll see if the Grizzlies can get it done tonight.
11.5-point favorites. That's a big NBA line early in the year.
Sure is. That's a lot of points. And so, we'll see, how they look tonight. It's still early. We talked about it on Monday with DeMichael Cole. This team is still trying to figure out this new identity, this new offense, and that's going to take some time. Even the players have addressed that it's going to take some time. But I do think against this Brooklyn team, they'll have a good opportunity to get another win, but Brooklyn's got some guys that can light it up at any moment, and so this ain't going to be a game where you can take off. But I do feel pretty confident that the Grizzlies can get a win tonight.
Darian had this great note yesterday, and it is in the Grizzlies game notes right now that I'm looking at. Thank you, Ross Wooden. Scottie Pippen Jr. recorded his first 2 double-doubles of his NBA career in the last 2 games. Pippen Jr. is one of 2 Grizzlies in franchise history to post consecutive point, assist, double-doubles off the bench since, Darian?
Senor Brevenite.
Is that right?
You got it.
Wow.
The great BK.
And you guys were correct. Jimmy Fallon comes on after my show. I should have known that.
That's Fallon, yeah. Okay.
Well, I was thinking of the late night guy after thinking of, kind of the
I
old,
think
the original
Seth
Letterman
Myers. So
NBC
Seth
spot.
Myers does come on
That's
after
it. That
Fallon.
is Seth
So it's
Myers.
Fallon and then Myers.
I've never stayed up and watched it.
No.
Neither
Sorry,
do I.
Seth. I'm not your target. I'm not your target audience.
Yeah, I think
I did Letterman 40 years ago.
There you go. Yeah, old Letterman, the OG. But that's a really good nugget. I did not know that.
Have you seen David Letterman lately?
No, I know you.
I love his look. You mean the bearded old man look? I love it.
Didn't know he had a beard. How about
He
that?
he could be easily a mall Santa Claus
Let's see.
coming up for this season.
Hold on. Oh wow, you're right. He could. That's a good.
I mean,
beard.
that's just letting it all go, isn't it?
This is a really. I mean, this is a really good. This is a recent picture. This is from the Netflix Festival 2024, and yeah, I mean, he could. That's. I don't know if we can see it because the light. But
Yeah.
that's Santa right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good.
I
that's a good
get
look.
you put that red cap on.
Oh, yeah.
He could work at the mall.
He could definitely work that. That'd be a great gig for him. Telling jokes as Santa.
Everybody I've ever known that's owned a Santa Claus suit and would go out around that time of year, always, all of them just drunker than hell.
Well, I mean,
I think it's a rule with a Santa suit that you got to imbibe heavily.
and 'tis the season, I guess, right? But that's great. No, I have not seen David Letterman recently. Back to the Grizzlies for a
How
second.
about that?
I had no idea, but good for him. He looks good. Looks like he's he's living. But for tonight, the injury report or status report, as they call it now, came out last night. There's not been any updates to it, but I'm sure later in the show we'll probably have an update. Questionable tonight, Zach Edey with right calf soreness, John Conchar, and John Morant. John Morant missed that game on Monday with that right thigh soreness. So, those three guys, two of the guys have been starters. Obviously, John Morant and Zach Edey. Would love to have both of those guys in there, but at the end of the day, still very early in the season. I saw some people a little upset with John Morant that he didn't play on Monday, but
Seriously?
we're 4 games into the season. Let's calm down just a little bit. I mean, 82-game season. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
I think Ja's earned when he wants to tap out, he can.
Yeah, if Ja needs a day, we'll give Ja that day. I'm not too worried about Ja Morant missing a ton of time.
The Grizzlies game notes are so good. Of course, Yuki Kawamura, born in Japan, but also for the Nets tonight, Cam Thomas,
That's right.
born in Japan.
Yes, I forgot about that. Cam Thomas, great.
Didn't
player.
realize that.
I mean, he can light it up.
Did he play for the national
He did
team?
not, no. Which is miss on their part. I don't know what the conversations were like, if there were
But he could've.
conversations. I'm sure he could have. But yeah, no, and he's the player to keep an eye on tonight because he is a good player. He can light it up and can go off really at any minute.
Zaire Williams' first game back. Is that
That's
right?
Yeah, that is right. I haven't kept up with Zaire through the first couple of games of the season this year. I wonder how he's doing.
I must confess, I checked out with Zaire about 2 years ago.
Oh, I thought you were about to say you
I'd
checked
seen
in
enough.
and looked at what he was doing this year, huh?
No,
Wow,
I
Brett.
checked out totally with him.
Brett, 10.3 points per game for Zaire right now.
Where is he at now?
Brooklyn. Tonight he's back.
Oh, I'll get to
Come
see
see
him
him here
tonight.
tonight.
Good. I
See
get to
him
boo
tonight.
him because if you guys remember a couple of years ago, he cost me $1,000.
Oh, that's right.
You forget about? Yeah, he cost me $1,000. I will finally be able to get this out of my system,
Maybe-
and I'll
maybe-
never bring it
You
up
can't
again.
boo with the credential on.
Maybe,
You can't do it.
maybe take
You
your
can't do it.
credential off before you do it.
No,
Good,
that's
good
how you
advice,
got in.
gentlemen.
You can't
Good
do it.
advice,
Stick it in
gentlemen.
your pocket.
Good advice, gentlemen, because that $1,000 crawl was just.
I believe it.
It cost you $1,000.
Yeah, so
I don't
I don't
quickly.
think
So,
booing would
yeah.
be sufficient.
But do you know the story, Brett? Did I tell you?
Tell us.
So
quickly.
just a couple of years ago, it was during draft night. It was the Moses Moody, Arkansas. We got great intel that the Grizzlies will not let him go past 10.
That's right.
Great intel. Here I go.
I was there.
I lay a grand down that he will go in the top 10.
Wow.
So we get to 9, and the Wagners, all that, go to Orlando, and I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings with these fingers crossed, and I hear
He's right there.
with 10 Zaire.
At Buffalo Wild
Don't-
Wings.
You're mad at the wrong guy, though.
I know.
He didn't draft himself.
I
to
know,
Memphis.
I know, Brett, but oh my God.
Take it up. You need to boo Zach Kleiman if you
I
see
need
him
to
around
boo
the building.
Clyde. I need to boo
Definitely
Clyde.
take
No,
your
no,
credential
no.
off.
Don't
before
start
you
like
do
that with a credential on.
don't do that.
Yeah.
How about this? His last game out against Denver, it was a loss in overtime. He finished with 18 points, made 4 3-pointers. How about that? 4 for 5 from 3. So, maybe he's starting to get
It's about how many he made here last year, isn't it?
Yes, that is. Unfortunately, that is true. So, yeah, we'll get to see Zaire in the building tonight and see maybe a revenge game for him for the Nets tonight against the Grizzlies. But we got a ton to get into over these next 3 hours, so let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Coach Tommy West will join us, talk some college football. A lot to get into with him as we'll recap some of the stuff from last weekend in the world of college football. 3:45, this will be fun. Brett mentioned this earlier in the week. Dodgers and Yankees, we know we talked about them in the World Series. We're going to go Big Four for both of these teams. Hard assignment, especially for that Yankees. I mean, we could have gone Big 20 for the Yankees and had a ton of good names. So we'll do our Big Four for both the Dodgers and Yankees at 3:45. 4 o'clock, David Cohn, the co-host of Crane and Company, will join us. We'll talk a lot of college football with him. At 4:30, get the grade books out. We're going through grades through October for the SEC and the Memphis Tigers. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated and CBB Central. He joins us throughout the college basketball season, so we'll kick off our weekly conversations with him as we're less than a week away from the start of the college basketball season. Monday night, it all gets going, so we'll do a little preseason chat with Kevin Sweeney at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Get over there for the world's biggest spa sale going on now at Family Leisure. Save thousands on in-stock hot tubs ready for delivery. Spa starting at $28.99. Cold plunges at $39.99. Swim spas at $17,499. Special financing is available, and don't forget about the huge discounts on all in-stock above-ground pools and all patio furniture. It's priced to move. So head out to Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Landon and Darian in the control room. Bryant and Brett with you. And we're all here until 6 o'clock. We want you to be a part of our show by calling 901 or texting 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy Log Cabin text and talk line. We're always in our Family Leisure Studios. And this hour is always brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2024. The remaining 24s and the 25 models that have taken over, and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call Lexus of Memphis at 901-334-9673, but they want you to stop by the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design. That makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day has got to be the World Series. Game 4 last night, and it started with an early home run from Freddie Freeman. Man, has he been good throughout the World Series. I thought it was going to be over. I thought that's what was going to do it. When you have first inning, you're trying to get something going if you're the Yankees, and Freddie Freeman steps up and hits a shot like that, it can be demoralizing for your team, and I thought that's what we were going to see. But it was a bullpen game for the Dodgers. They were throwing a lot of different guys out there, and throughout the game, as it went on, the Yankees bats started to wake up, and it was the hometown kid, the kid that grew up cheering for the Yankees, Anthony Volpe, who hit a grand slam in the third inning to give the Yankees a 5-2 lead. The Yankees added a run later, then a 5 spot in the 8th inning, and cruised to an 11-4 victory to make this series 3-1. So do the Yankees have life? We'll see tonight. Game 5 in New York. Jack Flaherty versus Garrett Cole. Jack Flaherty was able to get the win in Game 1 back in L.A. I would feel pretty good. Garrett Cole is going to go out there wanting to shut down this Dodgers offense and get some revenge and get a win. I would love for this series to be 3-2 when we wake up tomorrow, and then maybe we have a real series to get excited about. But right now, it's kind of taken some of the excitement about it. Last night was fun. It made it kind of fun, but being all Dodgers has been a little anticlimactic, and so maybe with that win last night, maybe another win tonight, this can become a really entertaining World Series. Then you got the side story of the fans. You got one fan trying to pry open Mookie Betts' glove. His buddy, the other fan, sees what's going on, pins down Mookie's other hand.
Armbar.
That's right. And so that was a weird side story. After the game, they were escorted out. They will not be there tonight. So I guess an interesting side story. But right now, it's been all Dodgers, and we'll see if the Yankees can get a little closer with another win tonight.
Almost verbatim, my top story, Bryant. Did the Yankees delay the inevitable, or did they make it a World Series last night? Well, it was just the inevitable. Tonight's when they make it the World Series. If they swing it back to the West Coast and a little more pressure, think about it a little more, get the clarity, and hit the ball like they did last night. But last night, of all people, the Yankees, of all people, Dave Roberts knows that a team can come back from down 3-0. He was the start. He was the spark plug once upon a time. It's never happened in the World Series. I don't think it's going to happen now. I just want a little more drama than we've gotten. And no, I'm not an exec at Fox. You know they want it. Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Dodgers against Garrett Cole for the Yankees. The Yankees have to like their chances to head back to L.A.
Yeah.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day has got to be the Grizzlies. They're back at home tonight against the Nets. Brett already mentioned it. 11.5-point favorites over the Brooklyn Nets, who come into this game 1-3 on the season, with their lone win being against the Milwaukee Bucks. It seems like a trend. When we were talking about the Bulls on Monday, their lone win came against the Milwaukee Bucks. But you look at this this Brooklyn team, and they've been competitive. They went to overtime with the Nuggets. They beat the Bucks. Before that, it was two pretty bad losses. They were close against the Hawks in the first game of the season, but 116-101 lost the game after that against the Magic. So they've been competitive through their first 4 games of the season. We'll see if they're competitive tonight against the Grizzlies. Grizzlies come in 2-2 after that loss against the Bulls Monday night, and they'll be looking to bounce back. Does Ja Morant play tonight? He missed Monday with some soreness. Maybe he's back tonight against this Nets team. Does Zach Edey go? We know he is dealing with some soreness as well. I think those two starters, you would hate to see those guys out. And for the Grizzlies, if you're looking for someone to guard, it's Cam Thomas, almost averaging 30 points a game through 4 games to start the season. He's got the green light. There's not a ton of expectations for Brooklyn this year, so it's just go out and try to play good basketball. And hey, Cam Thomas, if you've got a shot, take it. And I feel like that's what we're going to see a lot of tonight.
My not top story, I never could have imagined a 7-1 start for the Tigers causing this little pizzazz around town. It's not any real loud grumbling, but it's sure not people that pleased with 7-1. A lot goes with it. I think the AAC is really bad. People recognize that. Everyone knows it. The loss against Navy did take something out of a lot of people, but you keep winning, and I think people will care more. Maybe this weekend, not being at home after 2 in a row at home in 2 pretty wild games, maybe that's what they need. Go on the road, win this game, and try to get people charged up for down the stretch.
Yeah, we'll see. And another early one this weekend on the road against UTSA. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we come back, talking some college football with Coach Tommy West.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
What happens when former real estate agents want to sell their homes? This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Benstorff Realtors. I am so proud and feel so honored when former real estate agents contact me when they want to sell their homes or someone has called them asking whom they should use. They know that I've been in the business for quite a while, have a great deal of experience, and know that I'm good at marketing and I'm part of a nationwide relocation network. Over the years, I've developed a highly successful strategic marketing program that can make the difference in what you make and when. Thinking of selling? Talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers, but make sure I'm one of them. Remember what people often say that when you want the job done, call Shell Done. So if you or somebody you know is thinking of selling, remember what other former real estate agents do. They call me at 483-0546 or email me at memphisrelocate.com. Shell Dunn Rosengarten at memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546.
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
Don't do another Halloween spot for Central Barbecue.
But it's October. Doing a Halloween spot for Central Barbecue is a tradition.
But it doesn't make it a good thing.
Nothing else happens in October.
Baseball?
Not if you're a Cardinals fan. What else you got?
National Candy Corn Day.
No Central Barbecue connection.
Fair point. How about Make a Difference Day?
That's to encourage people to do something constructive for the world.
And going to Central Barbecue isn't?
I'm telling you, it's got to be Halloween.
There's no other choice, I guess.
Hey, Zeke.
Yeah.
This year, give the kiddies ribs on Halloween. They love that.
Seriously, next year, something new.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa set might go on forever. Family Leisure. Witten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together. Trust. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dakin.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studio, and joining us now to talk some college football, Coach Tommy West. He joins us every single week to talk some college football. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. I know we got a couple different things to get to, but I want to start off with the Memphis Tigers. Over the weekend, Tigers pick up another win, this time over Charlotte, and in that game, Seth Hennigan threw I believe 2 touchdown passes. One of them put him over the top for the career most touchdowns thrown by a quarterback. Over these last 5 or 6 years, you look at the quarterbacks that have come through here, Paxton, Riley Ferguson, Brady White, now Seth Hennigan. What have you made of, 4 straight quarterbacks that have been really, really good at that position? It's really hard to do that. You see around the country, you get a good quarterback, the next one might not be good, you get 2, maybe that third one you strike out on. What does it mean for the Tigers to continue to bring in these quarterbacks that find success at that position?
Well, that's how you win. I mean, you can't win in today's game without a quarterback. We've all said that. And you can win, but you're not going to win big. You're not going to win like they win without a quarterback. And the thing they're doing this year is it's a little bit different, but, man, they've played as a team. They've had each other's back. When their defense plays well, the offense is struggling, the defense plays good. Defense is struggling, the offense plays good. They're finding ways to win now.
And Coach West, in the recruitment now of all these guys, the first thing they or their dad or their high school coach or their mom or somebody around them, when's he going to be starting? How much is he going to play and how soon? How do you handle that out there recruiting? Because you always have to be recruiting 2 or 3. And I know forever coaches, they're at one house and they tell him, oh, yeah, you're going to start. They go to the next house. Oh, yeah, you're going to start. How do you juggle all those quarterback play?
I tell you what, I never told a player that he was going to start. in recruiting. But I did always try to sell the opportunity that was there at that position. And, we've got a guy that played well, or we've got a guy, that we've won 7 games with. Man, we're trying to win 10. The opportunity is there for you to come in and play, but you're going to have to earn it. And Dan Glow even said he was so mad at me when I left his house because I told him, I said, good chance you won't start your first year because I got my guy, Dante Brown, is my guy that I brought from Clemson with me. And so, you're going to have to work really hard, but, man, you can be a 4-year starter after him. And but I think they see through that. And if they've got anything to them and you offer them an opportunity, then the good ones are going to jump on that because they've got confidence and they know they can play.
Is that one of the tougher things that a lot of us don't get to see, that you have to be in that office and you have to have that conversation with the player and maybe his dad, maybe his position coach, and lay it out matter-of-factly? You're not ready to start right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I do believe this, and I always did, that in the end, the good ones appreciate your honesty, and they know, hey, and I would always tell them, I said, now these guys that are telling you that you're going to start for them, you know what's going to happen next year when they're recruiting the next guy? They're going to tell him he's going to start in front of you. So, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you exactly, here's where your opportunity is. Here's who we got. Here's where your opportunity is. But at the end of the day, show them how you can help them. That's what they want. Show them how you're going to. Every guy wants to go to the NFL. And who doesn't? I mean, the money they're paying now and the chance to keep playing. But you got to convince them that you have a plan for how to get them to the NFL through coaching, through fundamentals, through the weight room, through film study. Here's the guys we've gotten to the NFL. Here's how many first-round draft picks we've had. Man, the best ever at it was Coach Saban. Man, Coach Saban was convincing 5-star guys to come in, red shirt, don't play, and then have 3 years to play and say you play 2 and you go out. That way you don't get hurt, you don't get your body beat up, and you can play in the league longer. I mean, he was selling them that to come in and don't play for a year or two. So, but I think at the end of the day, you gotta have a plan. You got to have something positive to sell them.
I thought maybe the biggest magic that Coach Saban pulled off Coach West is during the recruitment, during the whining and dining and having them on campus and everybody telling them how great they are, including him, how he could quickly, after signing date, tell them now the work starts. The fun and games are over.
Yeah, well, recruiting's over.
Yeah.
Don't expect me to be picking your plate up and carrying it back for you. Recruiting's over. Let's go to work and do what we said and try to make you a better player.
Yeah. Talking to Coach Tommy West. Coach, let's go over to the SEC, talk about some of these games over the weekend. I was really impressed with Arkansas. I've been impressed all season with how they've played after what last year was. Now 5-3 on the year after a 58-25 win over Mississippi State. I know a lot going on at Mississippi State. They're in a complete change over there, and it's been a rough year for them. But to see what Arkansas has done, especially offensively, has been fun to watch. What do you make of Arkansas this year after what happened last year when they were just so, struggled so badly? Now sitting 5-3 and 3-2 in the SEC.
Well, we've said weeks before, I like Sam Pittman. I think he's a really good football coach. I think he's a tough guy, got an offensive line mentality, and I think that's what you're seeing. Now he's got a quarterback that's really talented, and it doesn't matter who you play. You score 58 points in an SEC game, you got to be doing something right. Man, I hope he keeps going. I just think he's one of the good guys. I think he's an outstanding coach. I'd be willing to bet that if something happens there at Arkansas, he'll get another chance somewhere else. But I think Arkansas has played well. Mm-hmm. You go back and you look at the Tennessee thing, and then they've lost a couple of close games that they could have won at the end. So they're a good football team.
Coach West, on Saturday at Fayetteville, Sam Pittman is doing rain dances. He wants it to be a mud hole at Fayetteville Saturday for his offense. And
It'll be one of those that, used to when you did things like that, you just let your grass grow a little higher. If you had a team coming in, you didn't cut it that week, and you try to slow them down. Now with turf, you can't let your grass get any higher.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting. I sit every week. I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something with Ole Miss right now that they got to come out of offensively to get something going. I was trying to break them down the other day and just look at them, and they're averaging 55 points a game, but if you break it down into the SEC games, they're only averaging 25 points a game in SEC games. And they played outside of LSU. They played the South Carolina's ranked 12th in the SEC. Oklahoma's 13th in the SEC, and Kentucky's 15th in the SEC. So I don't think now defensively they're giving up 16.5 points a game in the SEC games, so they're doing well. But I still want to see Ole Miss put it together offensively.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that game.
I think their offensive line's holding them back.
Yeah.
You think that's it? I don't know what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think these two high safety looks has Dart a little confused, and the offensive line's not moving anybody.
Yeah, well, we said it. The two high safeties will certainly put a stop to some of the RPO stuff, but you have to be able to run the ball. I mean, you got to be able to take what they give you, and don't be hard-headed with it. And it could be the offensive line, because if you're playing two high safeties and they can't run the ball, then you got them.
The big game in the SEC was the night game. LSU on the road against Texas A&M. It was a game of two halves. LSU comes out and they lead early. Then second half, A&M makes a change at quarterback. He gives them a real spark, more with his legs than with his arm. And Texas A&M gets the win 38-23. What have you made of the job Mike Elko has done going in there? Now has this team 7-1 and undefeated in the SEC.
Yeah, I don't know him, but I've been very impressed with what he did at Duke, and then now what he's doing at A&M.
Yeah.
I think he's another tough guy, a defensive guy, defensive mentality. That's a tough guy. He's a no-nonsense. And it looks like to me watching them that the players have bought into it. And I tell you, Reed only threw 2 passes in the second half. So, I mean, LSU had no answer to the quarterback, to the quarterback runs. And you got to be able to do something in the half to stop it. But they had no answer and never adjusted to it. And I know they weren't prepared for that probably coming into it because they didn't think that guy was going to be the quarterback. But once he came into the game, you know what he's going to do. He's from right here. He's from Nashville, so everybody here knows about it.
And Coach West, you full well know from being in the ACC at Clemson, you got to really want to coach if you sign up to coach at Duke.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's only been 2 guys ever in a long time. Spurrier won the conference one year there, and then Elko came in there and had a heck of a year. I guess David Cutcliffe did some good things there. But overall, I agree with you. You don't choose to go to Duke. You got to be. Got to be sentenced to go there.
I guess so. Coach, I'm curious, not just the SEC, just college football in general, who have you been the most impressed with as a team throughout this season?
Well, the team that I really did think early in the year, I did not think that Oregon, I watched them early in the year, and I wasn't overly impressed, but lately when I've watched them, their quarterback's a lot better than I thought he was, and they're playing really good football. Right now, I think Clemson's playing really good. They came out, lost to Georgia in that opener, but since then now their schedule's not very tough, but they've been really, really good. Georgia we know about, and then I tell you, watching A&M the other night, A&M's a good football team. So there's still a lot of really good ball left out there, and still some big, big games that are going to determine, who gets in. How many SEC teams do y'all think are going to get in the 12-team playoff?
Right now, I would say, if it was today, I would say just 3. Coach, I don't think 4 is deserving. I don't think it's deserving.
I agree, and I was the one saying early in the year that there were 5, that they wouldn't take 5. They'd probably take 4, but I thought there were 5 that were worthy of being in it. So, still a lot of ball, a lot of things can happen.
Yeah.
And Coach West, I've said, if I thought there were 10 that deserved it, I'd be fighting for it. If it was 5, I thought deserved it. But right now, today, I'm not going to fight for something I don't think is merited.
I agree 100%, and I think you're right. I think there's 3 right now.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Well, Coach, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
Okay, I look forward to it.
Enjoy the
Have a good
games.
week.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thank you, Coach West.
Coach Tommy West joining us to talk some college football like we always do. One of my favorite segments ever.
Are we sure it's 3 in the SEC?
Well, I mean, I guess we'll see how it plays out. I think right now,
I'm sure it's not 4.
I know it's not 4. I feel pretty good with 3. I feel like 3 right now. If it ended today, I would say 3 is the number.
I'll just tell you this: when we do grades, I only have 2 A's.
Whoa. Okay. I have,
and one of those A's not going to the playoffs.
I might be a nicer teacher than you this week, Brett.
Okay.
I think I have a couple more A's than you do, but we'll get to all of that at 4:30.
You got your mom. You got your sweet mom teacher
right.
in you.
Yes, and so I gotta give good grades. But we need to get to a break here. But before we do that, let me tell you about something going on tonight. We always tell you about our friends over at the commissary. They're doing something really, really great today. And if you are looking for something to eat, something to do tonight, please think about going to the commissary. They're having Gator Day today, October 30th, and 25% of the revenue will be benefiting Gates Mims, who goes to Houston High School. He's part of that football team. If you were listening to Johnny Radio's show on Friday, Johnny had him on the show to talk about him. He's going through cancer treatment right now. Just a wonderful interview with him on Friday. Go back and listen to that if you can. But tonight, 25% of the revenue at the commissary going to Gates Mims. From 6 to 9, they'll be having a barbecue buffet, $20 a person for kids under 10 years old. It will only be $10, and they'll be featuring live music from Gary Finney. So please get out there tonight for the commissary and going to a really, really fantastic cause for Gates Mims. And if you want to, if you want to go back and listen to his interview with Johnny Radio on Friday, it's definitely worth it. A really, really great interview with him. But let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, this will be fun. Dodgers and Yankees, they're playing each other in the World Series right now. When we come back, we'll talk about our top 4, our big 4 for both the Dodgers and the Yankees. That's next on Sports Time.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday is happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft meals, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Then enjoy Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekends. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Highway 70, Fall is football.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not. Call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash. 901-524-6799 or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
time to get loud for your Memphis Grizzlies tonight at 7 p.m. when Ja, Jaron, Dez, and the rest of your Grizz host the Brooklyn Nets on Civic Engagement Night. Arrive early as the first 3,000 will receive a hashtag GrizzVote spin. Secure your tickets today at Grizzlies.com.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Wilson's Pro Wash, your residential and commercial pressure washing service you can trust. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We got a couple minutes left in this first hour, and we got to talk about the Dodgers and the Yankees and get to our big four all-time for both of these storied franchises. Brett, why don't you start us off, either Dodgers or Yankees? Go for it.
All right, I'll go both, and then y'all respond. And I think it could be generational, and I don't mind it at all. You got so much to choose from.
This one definitely will be generational. It's normally not, but this one definitely will.
That's cool.
I don't know.
That's fine. Does anybody have Thurman Munson for the Yankees?
I do not, unfortunately.
I do not either. But we could name those until midnight. We could go and make. I mean, I could make a strong case for Jorge Posada. I could make a strong case for Bernie Williams. Y'all may be making those cases, but here's mine. Any Yankee list starts with George Herman Ruth.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth 1.
For sure.
Lou Gehrig 2. Jolton Joe DiMaggio, the Yankee Clipper 3. And number 4 from kind of this era, well, a few years ago, Mariano Rivera.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. All right.
My Dodgers. Any Dodger list starts with the great Jackie Robinson, not just for off the field, but on the field. Jackie Robinson 1. Number 2, Sandy Koufax. Number 3, and I'm serious, Shohei Ohtani. Number 4, Duke Snider.
Okay, all right. Our lists are kind of close on that one. I'll start with the Dodgers. Number 4 for me, Duke Snider. Number 3, Clayton Kershaw. I think we forget because of the injuries how good of a pitcher Clayton Kershaw has been for the Dodgers. Number 2, Sandy Koufax. And number 1, can't have a Dodgers list without putting Jackie Robinson on there. So that's my 4 for the Dodgers. And for the Yankees, we'll start at number 4. I also have Mariano Rivera on my list. Number 3, Jeter. Derek Jeter. You got to have him in there. 2 for me, Lou Gehrig. And number 1, Babe Ruth. So, yeah, a little generational.
Yeah, that was a lot.
How about a list leaving Derek Jeter off?
I mean,
I feel terrible.
Jeter.
I mean, he will be well represented right about now. So, like you guys said.
And we're still waiting for somebody to get to Mr. October.
Well, right about now. How about we do it? Number 1, we have the Babe. And then I think that's unanimous across. Number 2, now we get into Mr. October, and I'm not talking about Freddie Freeman people. I'm talking about Reggie Jackson. Not Freddie Freeman. Derek Jeter. That's a part of my pastime. Just growing up, like I said, I thought it would be kind of generational, and I thought Lou Gehrig was definitely worthy of being on this list. So we go to our Dodgers. Number 1, Mr. Robinson. I mean, how can you leave him off? You cannot. Same way with Babe. Next, we're gonna go Mr. Mike Piazza.
All right.
There we go. We'll go Mr. Sandy Koufax.
Yep.
He actually will be next. And I'll go Mr. Ricky Henderson.
Okay. All right.
Whoa.
Okay. Didn't have that one.
Yep.
Can y'all tell me where Sandy Koufax played college basketball?
Oh, my God.
I'm just going to say Kansas. I'm just going to take a guess and say Kansas.
Lunch next week on me at Jason's Deli where Sandy Koufax, born Sanford Braun, where he played college basketball.
I'm just going to say KU. I'm going to throw it out there because all the greats, I guess, apparently.
Once in a conference with the Tigers.
Oh.
Cincinnati.
UAB.
Boom.
What?
Boom who? Which one?
Cincinnati.
Look at that.
Yes.
Cincinnati.
Let's go. Yeah. Did not feel good about that one, but...
You're a winner. Put him on hold there, and we'll get his name
extra avocado on the sandwich.
No, thank you. I'll pass on the.
Put him on hold there, and we'll have to get his name and how to get his prize information to him.
And tell him how to get the prize.
And no nicknames, right? Right, Brett. No nicknames.
That's right.
Think how long we could have gone with these lists for
man.
players. We could go to every position
that's right.
around the infield and outfield.
Yeah. I think when I was making this list earlier, I think I started with the Yankees, and I was going through, and I finally, after like 10, 15 minutes, I said, I'm going to be here all day if I don't just decide on 4. So I'm just going to write down 4, and then we'll just go.
It's impossible.
I mean, we could have done top 50 for both of these.
And no wrong answers for both of these franchises.
Not at all. I mean, there's so many ways you can go and still be right, and that's the crazy thing about both of these franchises is they just have so many good players.
Yogi Berra, Bill Dickey, Elston Howard,
Yogi Berra. I guess I shouldn't say I had to leave him off. I chose to leave him off because he definitely.
And they caller questions all of our lists. Mr. Bobby just calls and say, "How could we leave off Mickey Mantle? How dare any of us?"
I had him on my list. Took him off.
True, Mr. Bobby, you're right.
And that's right back to it.
I can't say Bobby's wrong. Can y'all?
No, I can't. I'm ashamed I didn't have Mickey Mantle on my list.
I feel terrible.
Yeah,
I love Mickey Mantle.
I want to put Clayton Kershaw.
I wore 7 I wore 7 in minor league and little league.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, so we could have been here forever and been listening.
Besides, he dated Marilyn Monroe as well.
Well, that's another. I mean,
that was Joe DiMaggio.
Oh, that was DiMaggio, not Mantle. Yeah, that was Joe D. Okay.
Yeah. So you had DiMaggio on your list, didn't you? I did not.
Yeah.
If I remember that.
Joe DiMaggio was married to her. He didn't just date. They were married.
Okay. Wow. Now I'm really ashamed I didn't have DiMaggio.
Only the best-looking woman of the 20th century.
Yeah. So, I mean, shame on me for not remembering that information.
That's why I got Joe on my list.
Try it. Yes. I mean, hey, how could you not? I thought we were just keeping it to baseball there, Brad. I don't know.
And I've told this story a million times. Joe DiMaggio was a very regal, confident, pretty large ego person. Look, you were married to Joe DiMaggio. You were married to Marilyn Monroe. You had a 56-game hit streak, and he had, for any speaking agreement, he had a huge fee, and demanded that they almost sign. They did. They had to sign a contract of what he expected: his hotel room, car service, etc. And his introduction had to be from whoever introduced him, ladies and gentlemen, the Yankee Clipper, Joltin' Joe DiMaggio, baseball's greatest living player.
Wow. Otherwise, he wouldn't participating, right, Brett? He wouldn't.
You weren't getting him.
You weren't getting him.
And he, for as long as he was breathing, he considered himself baseball's greatest living player.
I guess one more. Did we say Frank Robinson? Totally forgot about Frank Robinson.
I don't know if Frank Robinson played for either.
On the I got it says Hall of Fame members right here, so I guess he played for him at some point.
Frank Robinson didn't play for Yankees or Dodgers.
See,
it says 72 and 82. I don't know. I got a list right here. His name on it, Brett. I don't know.
Huh?
No, Frank Robinson played for the Reds and the Orioles, and then later Cleveland.
It says 72. So did he coach now? It says years with Dodgers, 72. What did he do in 72?
I don't know.
I don't know. I figured it out.
I'm out on this conversation. I don't know. Let's see. 1 year it says on Baseball Reference, and 72 played for them.
1 year?
1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's what it was.
Yeah, but okay. I'm sorry. I didn't recall that.
Well, I mean, 1 year. I don't.
Yeah, and just the legend of Frank Robinson. That's what took me about. I was like, oh my goodness, how could we not? So I guess none of us kind of remembered him as a Dodger.
I don't.
So I was like, wow. I was
he
like,
did. I'm there now too. I'm sorry.
Yes, I
very
apologize.
sorry, Darian. I'm very sorry.
How about that?
Yeah, I apologize, Mr. Robinson.
Remember him with the Angels in '73.
How about that? Yeah, bouncing around.
Golly,
from team to team.
I owe Jason's Deli to Darian for the mistake.
Wow, you're just.
But no, like Brian said, it was just 1 year. So I mean, easily dismissed. But when you see that name,
I said he didn't play at all. I was wrong. Categorically. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but when you see Frank Robinson, you don't leave that off a list. So that was my apology. I was like, wow, we left Frank off.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, hey, a good list.
3 games. That's playing a year.
Sure
I mean,
is,
he's been. That's basically as much as Shohei this year with him.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, these lists, we could go the rest of the show and list off players for both of these teams. That's just how good these two teams are.
These two teams and the Immaculate Grid connection, I would have bet a lot of money against Frank Robinson ever with the Dodgers or the Angels.
Put that in your back
Played
pocket,
147 games in 73.
How about that?
One of his trivia questions,
Put it in your
right?
back pocket for the next what's it called? Immaculate Grid, and then
Immaculate Grid.
Yeah, you'll have it.
I'll be ready.
That's right. Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. Wrap up this hour. When we come back, we're talking more college football with David Cohn.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly. Hungry for that delicious smash burger flavor? Dyer's Cafe is the original smash burger since 1912 and still smashing burgers in Collier's historic town square. Come out for their lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 to 2. Ask about their world-famous split dog and authentic Chicago or New York dog. Try the leaner side of Dyer's with a grilled chicken sandwich or freshly made salad. Also serving lakes, Delta-raised catfish, Pasquale's tamales, and a customer favorite hand-breaded onion rings. Dyer's, serving world-famous burgers, dogs, and shakes in Collier's historic town square.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa set might go on forever. Family Leisure, with and run at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's looking good right now through the Midtown area. We're expecting it to get a little bit busier the next 15-20 minutes on 240 southbound here at Lamar as you work your way down to Norris. Continuing south of Memphis on 55 down through DeSoto County in pretty good shape. Just watch your speed down through there this afternoon south of Memphis and I-40 out there in Fayette County. Quite a bit of radar earlier. At the Humane Society of Memphis Shelby County, you can adopt a pet and change a life. For more information on the pets that are up for adoption, log on right now to memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
56 WHBQ Memphis. Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Now, back to Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We got to talk some more college football, and joining us to do that, he joins us every week at this time. David Cohn, the co-host of Crane and Company, joins us now. David, thanks so much for joining us. I want to start off with the game of the night Saturday. It was LSU and Texas A&M. LSU leads the game early. They really controlled the first half. Then at the half, Texas A&M makes a change. Wegman, you're going to the bench. Marcel Reed comes in at quarterback, and he gave them a spark more with his legs than with his arm at the quarterback position, and Texas A&M dominates that second half. They win 38-23. What did you make of that change at quarterback at halftime, and where this Texas A&M team is at right now, 7-1 overall, 5-0 in conference play?
Well, as always, guys, thanks so much for having me. And, man, did that football game live up to the billing. Just to start at the very beginning of the season, I've been very, very big on Connor Wegman. I think he did some great things last year before he was injured. I was hoping that he would come back and really, take that next step in his college football career this year. Struggled a little bit early on, didn't know if he was trusting his leg after that injury last year. Marcel Reed comes in, does some great things. I highlighted that play that he threw, that rail route against Florida that was a great win for them. And for Coach Mike Elko to go back to Connor Wegman despite winning with Marcel Reed when they played Missouri, that was surprising to myself. That was surprising to my co-host on Crane and Company. But the way that Connor Wegman came out and played, we said, oh, that's the guy. That's the guy that we had talked about all offseason. That's the guy we talked about with David Pollock, who we said could potentially play on Sundays one day. And then, sort of regressed the last couple weeks, and Texas A&M found themselves in a situation where it was like, hey, I think we can do better if we bring in Marcel Reed and really just attack this LSU team on the ground. And, man, did that work. I mean, look, it was a tale of two halves, certainly, but the two biggest takeaways for me are LSU when Garrett Nussmeier turns the football over, right? Like, if you want a recipe to beat LSU, it's get Garrett Nussmeier to turn the football over, which is easier to do when LSU can't run the football, and I think that's one of the biggest surprises for a lot of LSU fans and really college football fans this season. You have this awesome offensive line from a pass-setting standpoint, but they're not run blocking so well. They're not able to get a lot of traction. I thought early in the first half they were going to be able to run the ball. They had a couple plays here and there, but throughout the game it's just not happening, and Garrett Nussmeier, I think, feels the need to do everything, so he turns the football over. And then the flip side of that is going to Marcel Reed for Texas A&M rather than Connor Wegman, and you can see LSU clearly wasn't prepped for it. When they were prepped for a quarterback like that, a dual-threat guy, when they played Taylor Green in Arkansas, they handled that challenge. But I don't think they were ready for Marcel Reed to come in and do some of the things he did. Now moving forward, and we just talked to Matt Moscona an hour ago, LSU's really going to have to thread this needle as they sit on this bye week before they host Alabama in Baton Rouge. And then on the Texas A&M side of things, they're going to have another great one against South Carolina on the road, and that's a South Carolina team that, man, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, they can beat anyone in the conference or they could lose by 30. So I'm really interested to see if Texas A&M stays with Marcel Reed in that one.
David, you have a great perspective having played college football at Michigan, but deep South boy from Georgia, and you work here. You're around here. You're right in the middle of all of it. Your father-in-law, a great Alabama quarterback. I mean, you got Southern SEC bona fides as much as anybody. So I'm going to give you a tough task. I'm going to say the top three teams in the Big Ten. It's Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State. I'm going to say the top three in the SEC would be Georgia, Texas, and Texas A&M. Would you rather make a case that the Big Ten has the better of the three teams or the SEC?
Well, that's a really good question. I will say if I'm taking all three, I will go with the SEC. If I'm just taking one right now, I would go with the Big Ten because I do think Oregon is starting to separate themselves. Oregon is starting to look like that team preseason that we thought they could, right? Not just worthy of a number one ranking, but worthy of being the best team in the country. Now, they're going to have other opportunities to showcase that. Certainly, they have to go on the road this weekend and beat a Michigan team, which I think is the largest underdog at home since the 80s. But I will say kudos to Michigan for keeping that Paul Bunyan trophy in Ann Arbor. It's always great when you can win that in-state rivalry against Michigan State. I think Oregon's looking very special and balanced on both sides of the football. And honestly, I'll say I don't even know if I agree with your top three in the Big Ten right now, because Indiana's over here saying, hey, what about us, man? That Indiana team is so impressive right now. I know they haven't played necessarily the caliber of competition as some of the other programs that we're talking about, but they're going to get their opportunity too, and they're going to get their opportunity against the Buckeyes, who look very vulnerable. And certainly, we get a chance to see Buckeyes and Penn State in Happy Valley this weekend. I can't wait for that one. But just in terms of all three teams that you mentioned, I would go with the SEC right now. Obviously, we knew the winner of this past weekend's matchup against Texas A&M and LSU. They were the two undefeated teams in the conference. One had to come out of that a winner, and one had to come out of that a loser. This is a zero-sum game that we play, and that ended up being Texas A&M. And now their schedule moving forward, when you look at it, man, if they can really thread this needle and get to the Texas game that weekend of Thanksgiving and host them in College Station for a chance to go to the SEC championship game in Mike Elko's first year, boy, I'll tell you what. And then Georgia, just a quick thought on Georgia here as they're going to head in and play their own rivalry game against Florida this weekend. It hasn't been the regression on defense as big of a surprise as it is on offense. I think that Carson Beck, and I understand that Todd Monken's still not there calling plays, and Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers and those guys you lean on, they aren't there anymore, but you still have a quarterback that was projected to possibly be the first overall pick. I'm surprised that they're not able to be more effective than they are on offense, but despite that, they still only have one loss, right? And you have a great win over Clemson, and you're still going to get Ole Miss, and you're still going to get Tennessee, and Georgia can still win the national championship, man. And the defensive performance that they put on in Austin, Texas, if they can do that, they can beat anyone in the country. So right now I would take those three SEC teams that you mentioned, and obviously Tennessee right there trying to get back in the hunt, and in the Big Ten, Indiana right there trying to squeeze their way into those top three. I can't wait to see how this finishes.
Going back to the Big Ten, talked about Penn State. They've got a massive one this weekend against Ohio State at Beaver Stadium. You've talked with us before about how intimidating that place is, the crowd there, the atmosphere. Now with Drew Aller, we don't really know, left the game last week with an injury. What do you expect to see in this early game, 11 a.m. game on Fox? What do you expect to see in this one this weekend?
Yeah, and I think part of that, look, it's disappointing that it's a noon game, right? I just think part of that for Fox is the World Series, and maybe we don't even get to a Game 6, but I think they just have to protect themselves. And I don't know that for certain. It seems like that's why this is a noon kickoff. And for Penn State, man, this is the one, right? This is the one. This is the hump that you said we need to get over. There hadn't been a problem with James Franklin and Penn State beating the teams you're quote-unquote supposed to be beating. It's been Michigan and it's been Ohio. And really, honestly, we had talked about Penn State benefiting with no more divisions in the Big Ten. Honestly, this season, they would probably rather play Michigan. They'd rather see Michigan on their schedule because I think Penn State would be favored quite heavily in that game. Unfortunately, you don't get them and you don't get Oregon, which means your only opportunity this season to sort of get over that big game hump in games that you're not necessarily favored in is against the Buckeyes. And, hey, you just so happen to get them at home. So this is the one that you need. This is the game we will judge you on, Penn State. Whether or not Drew Aller goes, I think he's going to play in this football game. How healthy is he going to be? That's always a question. Are you 70%? Are you 90%? No one's 100% this late in the season. As far as the Buckeyes go, guys, if you've really watched them week in and week out, particularly since this last three game opponent, which is the toughest three games that they've played, there are concerns, right? There are concerns on both sides of the football. I think they rushed for 64 yards against Nebraska. I don't know how any team that has Travion Henderson and Quinshon Junkins on it rushes for 64 yards. And on the flip side of that, I believe they've given up triple-digit rushers in each of the last 3 weeks. You can fact-check me on that one. Despite that, Oregon had to win third downs. Oregon had to win passing yards, rushing yards. They had to win penalties. They had to win turnover battle. They had to run a 12-man out there and get an NCAA rule change just to beat the Buckeyes by 1 point in Eugene, Oregon. So this is still a really good football team that we're talking about. Let's just watch as closely as we can this weekend. Let's see if Penn State is able to get over that hump, or is this just another classic scenario where the Buckeyes find a way to control the line of scrimmage, which they haven't been able to do, and then they hit those big plays, which they always are able to do, and it's sort of business as usual for them as they finish out the season.
David, you know every league very well. The ACC, it's looking a lot better than it did early. Clemson really responding well after that pasting opening day. There were a lot of question marks around them. A lot of people really wanting to go after Dabo. Are they that good, or has it been because who they've been playing, or are they that good?
You can't lose to Georgia in week one the way they did, and they kept it close in the first half, but, that sort of gravity of Georgia showed itself in the second half. You can't lose like that. And then win the rest of your ACC games, and including a couple non-conference opponents like App State, and expect anyone else around the country to think anything other than you're just winning games because you're playing lesser competition. Now, I certainly do think that is a part of it. I also do think that this Clemson team is, one, they're still really good. I mean, remember what that Georgia team just did in Austin, Texas, okay? That was the team that you kept it close against at halftime and you ended up losing against. So their loss is a good loss. So this is a good Clemson team, and I think they've gotten better each week of the season. And this is the point in the season, these weeks 9, 10, 11, 12, that you really want to see which teams are really well coached because they're going to improve throughout the season. So I think Clemson was already good. I think they're getting better every week. And, yes, they have had the benefit of not necessarily having to play through the gauntlet of an SEC schedule. With that being said, they've looked better. Miami, on the other hand, undefeated, right? And they've had some tough games of their own. Haven't necessarily looked better as the weeks have gone on, especially on the defensive side of the football, but have remained undefeated, and they still have that guy Cam Ward playing quarterback for him. And with him in the pocket, you can beat anyone. And then, look, you're talking about the ACC. Pitt and SMU, both undefeated in conference, going to play this weekend. The winner of that one, especially if it's SMU, is going to be positioned really nicely. I know Pitt's still going to have to play Clemson, so that one will take care of itself. But the closer we get to this thing, the more realistic it is to have three teams in the ACC that are unbeaten. And, I hope that we don't get that. I hope that we don't have to go down to points 3, 4, and 5 when it comes to tiebreakers to see who plays in the conference championship game.
Yeah, no, that would not be very fun. Well, I'm excited. I'm glad you brought up this Pitt SMU game because I cannot wait for this game Saturday night. I've got a couple buddies that went to SMU, so I'm going for the Ponies. But what do you expect to see in this game? Who's the better team, SMU or Pittsburgh?
Well, it's funny you asked that. I mean, Jake, my co-host Jake Crane, I think was the only person in sports media, or maybe just in the entire country, other than a couple SMU fans, who had SMU playing in the ACC championship game, their first year in the conference. And boy, did that look ugly early on with the way that they were playing. But Rhett Lashley, coach out there, has gotten things turned around. And then this Narduzzi-led Pitt team, I think I read a stat somewhere that it's the first time that they've been 7-0 in over 4 decades, something like that. I believe that was the stat. I just saw that today. I can't wait for this. I don't know the quarterback situation for each. It sounds like both teams may be without their starting quarterbacks. Wow. I hope that that's not the case. But again, I think that both of these programs are where they are because of great coaching. I think that both of them have sort of cut some of the fat out of the programs, and both of these guys have said, we want the football players here who want to be here, who have a deep, deep desire to be here and to play college football, and who aren't necessarily just looking for the highest NIL opportunities. Now, that's obviously easier said than done, but from what I've heard, that's the mindset that these programs have had. Again, Pitt's got a little bit tougher task throughout the rest of their schedule than SMU does, and the scheduling is such an important part of this. Who's a better football team? Look, we get to find out this Saturday. I hope everyone's healthy. Obviously, SMU is going to get the benefit of the home field advantage, but we should be in for a really good one, and this is going to have implications for the conference championship. And just remember, in a 12-team playoff era, the conference champion has major implications on the college football playoff with those automatic bids. So this is one that college football fans may typically ignore. Pitt and SMU, this isn't the week to do that.
I've never been to an SMU game on campus at Gerald J. Ford Stadium, not the president. But I have been to SMU games at Texas Stadium, and I think I even went to one at the Cotton Bowl one time. But I've never been on campus. I've got a friend of mine, and David, I know you know Ted Gansey with collegepressbox.com and the Football Writers Association of America. And Ted's SMU loyalist. He will swear and will never back up that the tailgating scene at SMU is better than at the Grove at Ole Miss.
Wow. Well, I can't vouch for that because I haven't been there, but sounds like I need to go.
Yeah.
Road trip. We do
that?
need to go.
Yeah.
Brian, do your friends talk about the tailgating experience?
Yeah, and I've been to a handful of games down there. Now, some down years that we went to games down there when they played Memphis, but it was pretty good even those years. I'm sure now, especially in the ACC with everything
we've had down years at the Grove.
No,
I can understand that.
I hear great things from the tailgates out there. It sounds like it's a good time. So we got to get down there. I'm curious, David, going back to the SEC. A lot of people talk about this Texas team, especially after the Georgia game. Maybe quick reactions, overreactions, maybe about this Texas team, and look at their schedule before they played Georgia. Maybe this team isn't as good as we thought they were. How good is Texas?
Texas is still a really good football team, and they're balanced. They're good on both sides of the football. I think that defense is going to be really hard for a lot of teams in the country to score on. And then when Steve Sarkisian is calling plays for a guy like Quinn Ewers, they're going to score points, right? My only reservation is, the schedule wasn't that tough up to that point. Michigan is not the team that we, at least I was hoping, and many of us thought they could potentially be before the season that they were. Even though anytime you go on the road and get a win in Ann Arbor, it's impressive from a brand standpoint. But, that is not as impressive of a win as we were thinking for Texas. And then the Red River Shootout, Oklahoma on offense just couldn't keep up. So while they were up in the first quarter 3-0 and they got to Quinn Ewers on the very first play, it's like, how much do we really know about Texas after that game because of the lack of offense that Oklahoma had? Then Georgia comes in and they, beat them thoroughly, especially in the first half the way they did, without their offense really playing well. And I just keep coming back to this point that at the first sign of adversity, when you really hit adversity there, Steve Sarkisian pulled Quinn Ewers out of the football game for Arch Manning. Now, he ended up returning in the second half, and they did some good things. They got it a little bit closer. But, that doesn't bode too well if you're a Texas fan. With that being said, I'll tell you what does look good for you, though, is that everyone else around the country, except for really Oregon, and obviously there are a couple other undefeated teams with BYU and Iowa State and Miami and such, but really Oregon's the only one of that bunch who hasn't shown any, what I would say, vulnerabilities throughout the meat of the season, and even they had their struggles early on. So if you're Texas right now, you can say, man, you know what? That Georgia game was a pitiful performance for us. A very disappointing loss at home. But you know what? That Georgia team's really, really good. They out-schemed us. We're still a really good team. No one around the country looks unbeatable, and the team that beat us already has a loss on the road to Alabama. So you know what? We're still right here in this thing. Let's just take it week by week, and let's play with the confidence that we can beat anyone in the country. I guarantee you that's the message, or there's a similar message being preached by Steve Sarkisian in that building.
More likely upset Saturday in the SEC. Arkansas at home upsets and wins over Ole Miss, or South Carolina at home upsets and wins over Texas A&M?
Man, that's a really good question. I would say the more surprising upset would be, I guess I would say Arkansas over Ole Miss, just because it sounds to me like Texas A&M is going to go with Marcel Reed, okay? And he's going to be a young freshman quarterback up against this front seven of South Carolina who they've proven they're one of the better fronts in college football. Because they're so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you really, I know you can sort of get anything out of South Carolina. It can go any way. That's a really tough one, though, because Arkansas, look, I think I still may take Arkansas in that game just because of some of the ways that Ole Miss hasn't shown to break away from college football or break away from the rest of the conference like we thought they might. And that Bobby Petrino and Taylor Green combination, boys, they put up over 600 yards of total offense for the third time this season. So
almost 7.
Even as I'm answering your question, man, I almost want to flip because I wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina and Arkansas both win on the same weekend.
Last Saturday when Ole Miss got in short yardage down around the goal line and went for it on 4th and 1 or 2 and ran kind of the trick play, the gadget play, the Juice Wells reverse, I think it just screamed it can't line up and splatter anybody.
Yeah, which is very disappointing, especially if you're an Ole Miss fan who thought, okay, maybe we can't assemble the type of roster that can win a national championship here in Oxford every single season. But with a coach like Lane Kiffin, this is still a proud enough program that we can do it once every couple seasons. And dang it, we've done it this year. This is the type of roster that can finally get over that hump. And if guys like Quinshon Judkins don't want to be a part of it, let him take off for Columbus. We're better off without him. This is the roster that can get it done. And then you lose to Kentucky, and then you lose on the road to LSU, which was already going to be a tall task. They were itching to pay him back for what happened last year, and it's in Death Valley at night. That one's more understandable. So, yes, it has been disappointing, just on both sides of the football, but especially on offense. And despite that disappointment, where does Ole Miss find themselves in? They find themselves in a situation where if they're able to thread this needle, if they can beat Georgia, if they can beat Florida, if they can beat some of these teams down the stretch, and we talked about it on today's show with a caller who called in, if they can win these next 4 games, and including their rival in the Egg Bowl, they will be worthy of a college football playoff spot because those will be significant wins that they will have accumulated with their backs against the wall. So in an expanded playoff, they're not out of this thing. They just need to do what I said other teams are doing already throughout the country. The well-coached teams, the ones who have championship pedigree, are the ones who get better in week 7, 8, 9, 10, and throughout the season. You have to be better in December than you were in August, or you're not a championship football team.
Yeah. Well, it should be a really good weekend of college football, some really intriguing games on the schedule. But as always, David, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Thanks, David.
Enjoy. Thank you, David. Enjoy.
David Cohn joins us from Crane & Company. He's the co-host there, joining us every single week to talk some college football. I know we've talked a lot of college football today, but we did earlier talk about the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm rocking my Grizzlies hat today because they're back at home tonight against the Brooklyn Nets, and we actually have tickets to give away. We're giving away a 4-pack of tickets for tonight's game against the Brooklyn Nets. So if you, your family, maybe some buddies, if y'all want to go see the Grizzlies in action tonight, early in the season, a lot of excitement about this team, we're going to give those away right now. We'll give them to the first caller that calls into the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 901-360-8255. That's 901-360-8255. Be the first person to call in, and Darian will take care of you. He'll get your name, your information, and we'll get you those tickets so you can go see John Moran and the rest of that crew take on the Brooklyn Nets. But let me remind you about our great 4 o'clock sponsor, and that's Wilson's Pro Wash. Do me a favor. Picture your home beautifully clean and pristine. Does that seem impossible? Well, not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Their Gentle Touch Pro Wash will restore your house, fence, driveway, commercial building, and more to their very best. Wilson specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, from concrete to stone, brick to mortar, even wood to vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal your surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Wilson's Pro Wash, clean is their mission. They'll wash away everything but your sins, so give them a call, 901-524-6799. That's 901-524-6799, or go online to wilsonsprowash.com. Well, we need to get to a break here, and when we come back, we've talked a ton of college football today, but it is the end of the month, so you know what that means. We've got to get to some grades. Get the grade books out. We're grading the SEC and the Tigers through the month of October. We'll do that next on Sportstime.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Winton Road.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you. All of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto. Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporty luxury. Test drive one at Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Admit it. When you start thinking about tastes of Memphis, you think treats, sweets. You think Dinstall's. For 122 years now. What is that, 5 generations? When people wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 per person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone, call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses, guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast,
Call Bill at 901-406-1101. Bill is I Buy Houses.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. There's a couple of wrecks still getting some attention out here. It's trying to build through the Midtown area. Already I-40 West over here at Danny Thomas as that traffic builds across the Hernando de Soto Bridge headed over into West Memphis. It's picking up I-40 East from, let's say, Hollywood all the way over to White Station. It's building also on 240 as you get on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. Hey, at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County, you can adopt a pet and change a life. For more information on the pets that are up for adoption, just log on to memphisHumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Here once again are Brett Moore's and Bryant Dacre.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and it's that time of the month. We did it at the end of September. Now we're doing it at the end of October. Grades for the SEC and for the Memphis Tigers. Brett, where do you think we should start at? We might have lost Brett.
He's there. I see him.
Yeah, but is he connected? Because I think we might have lost him. That's okay. We'll get back.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, there is some issue.
We'll get back with Brett. So I guess we can start our grades and get to them. I'll start with how about we start with the Memphis Tigers?
Yeah, that I was going to say.
I'll start
with
the Memphis Tigers. Do you have a grade for the Tigers?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's hear yours first.
All right. Overall, giving what they've gone through and the bad loss, I still hate that loss that they had.
Sure. But I mean, we know more about Nate. I know they just got whipped by Notre Dame, but you know.
And now I know no pluses and minuses this go around.
That's right. Yes.
So
yes,
B.
No
We're gonna give them a solid.
Never.
B.
They're cop out.
There we go. There he is. I was waiting on him.
Coming in strong.
Coming in hot and strong, baby. So last time I think I was giving the pluses and negatives, and I think you just heard it, Brett.
Okay.
Pluses and minuses are for babies.
And the word disappointing, right?
Yeah, you can't.
And the word disappointing.
Yes.
I mean, that's two strikes on you.
I tell you, the next thing after disappointing is, well, this needs to be a learning experience.
We're gonna learn from this, Brett. Yes. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brett, your grade for the Tigers?
My grade for the Tigers, B.
Okay, I have a B as well. So group lock on the B for the Tigers. I don't, it hadn't been bad, but it hadn't been flying colors. So I give them a B.
Yeah, everybody goes B. I went in alphabetical order. Okay. How do you want to go on SEC?
We can do alphabetical order. That's fine.
I start with Alabama and a C.
Okay, Alabama. Let me find them on my list.
And when was the last time Bama and C in same sentence?
I was a little harsher than you, Brett. I went D just because you don't plan on losing to Vandy.
Whoa. Okay.
That is not.
I can't argue with that.
That's not in the game plan. That's not in your future. You don't come to Bama to lose to, what do you call it, anchor down?
Anchor down?
Yeah.
Yes, we anchored down. I gave him a C. I think, but I think we're kind of on the same path. Look, it's a lot of changes, but it has not been a Bama year, and so for that, I give them a C.
And on top of that, they're going to get saved because the playoffs will allow them to atone for that nonsense.
Yeah.
And Alabama, now back to back at Neyland. That's getting too familiar. You first on Arkansas, Bryant.
Arkansas, I give them an A. I think, with what last year was, what the expectations were before the season. Look, I mean, we talked to Ty, and I think Ty is, I would like to say he's one of many, but I think a lot of people have probably moved the goalposts a little bit this year for Arkansas football. But before the season started, he said they get bowl eligible, Sam Pittman's good. That's a successful season. Well, now we look up, they've got 5 wins already on the season. They're rolling right now, playing good football. So I'm going to give them an A. I think they've definitely exceeded expectations because a lot of people thought we would probably be talking about who's the next coach at Arkansas right now before the season started. We're not anywhere close to that, so I'll give them an A.
Yeah, you're correct. Well,
I hear that conversation I hear that conversation. Thank you, Danny. So B for you, A for Bryant. I hear people say that about we thought Arkansas would have a new coach, but now Not me. I had Arkansas 5-3 at this point.
Did. I don't think I didn't. I'm not saying I thought they would have a new coach by now. I thought we'd be having the conversation of who's the next coach. He's on his way out. We're talking about new coach.
He's out.
But yes, you were very high on them before the season.
I wasn't that high. I had 6-6 total, but I had 5-3 to this point. So that's why I'm gonna give them a B because they still whenever the year's over, they handed the game to Oklahoma State.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think you'd still be probably higher on them than most people were before the season started.
Brett, you had them beating Tennessee?
And I had them beating Tennessee.
That was my question to you. Gotcha.
You sure did.
Preseason, I did. In fact, preseason I had wins over UAPB, Oklahoma State, UAB, lost to Auburn, lost to Texas A&M, win over Tennessee, lost to LSU. So flip Oklahoma State and Auburn, and I'm right there. And I had them losing to Ole Miss, losing to Texas, beating Louisiana Tech, and losing to Missouri to finish 6-6. Auburn, big fat F.
Yeah, I have an F for Auburn as well.
There's three of us.
Yeah. Can't get worse.
Big fat F.
But might be where I put a minus in
Florida.
Minus.
Darian, you first.
All right, Florida has
no pluses or minuses.
They've kind of bounced back, so I'm going to give Mr. Napier a C. I'm going to give him a solid C right now because it could be worse, but it daggum sure could be better.
Is that C on a curve?
C on the curve. C on the curve.
Okay.
I think I'm also going with a C, and that curve is the number one toughest schedule in the country. Like it's been tough. I don't think they've played bad. It's just the wins haven't come, and I don't think many people thought they would before the season. So I'll go with a C.
I'm not grading Florida Gators on the curve. I'm grading the Florida Gators on the standard that Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer set, and that's why I have them with a D. And the day they start accepting that they've toggled back a little bit, then they're going to go back to being bad like they were before they hired Steve Spurrier from Georgia.
That's true.
Georgia for me B. I can't get the first half of Bama out of my mind, and that's a Bama team that lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a B as well. I don't think they've been head and shoulders above everyone else. I think that's what a lot of people thought they would be. We've kind of gotten used to Georgia doing that. I don't think they've done that this year, so I'll go with a B.
Well, I'm going to give them an A for the bounce back at Texas. It was so easy to fall and rest on your laurels and say, oh, my gosh, so here we go again, another top 5 game on the road, and they bounce back.
I can get with that.
And your grade is what, Darren?
I gave them an A because they are still there. They bounced back. They atoned for that Alabama loss.
And Bryant, you?
I was a B.
Okay. Kentucky, D.
I've got a D for Kentucky as well. It's just, they've not looked good. Not looked good at all.
Yeah, 3 and 5 to get you a D.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hadn't won a home game.
No, wow. Yeah, no, that's not good.
In the SEC. And, the Southern Miss game really didn't even get completed.
That game, yeah.
And it lost to South Carolina, lost to Georgia, did beat Ohio at home, but that's not SEC. Lost at home to Vanderbilt, lost at home to Auburn.
Yeah.
LSU, Bryant.
LSU, I have an A for them. I've enjoyed watching them. I think they've played really well, and I'm gonna give them an A. Yeah.
You remember opening day?
That's fine. That's fine.
Opening weekend.
That's a long time ago.
That was USC, not with. That was USC, not with Matt Leinart.
That's true, but hey, I'm giving them an A. I think they've played well this season, and so they can have one. They have one little slip up. I'll still give them an A.
Yeah, that's solid for them. I got B. They shouldn't have lost a middle loss.
I'm judging them on the lofty standards set by Nick Saban, continued by Les Miles, and even Ed Orgeron winning the national championship. I'm not lowering a bar for LSU. They've lost 2 football games by the 1st of November. With all those players they have, they got walloped in the second half at College Station. Didn't play good in the fourth quarter against a very average USC team that's muddling all around their first year of the Big Ten. I give LSU a C.
Okay, all right, I like that.
I needed to sign up for y'all. I would have been summa cum laude.
No, but you know what? The more I hear your case, I understand where you're going with the LSUs and the Floridas being who they were and knowing who you are. So I 100% agree with you, though.
Yeah.
Especially your grading tactics.
Ole Miss, I give them a D.
I have them at a C.
I have a D. when you talk playoffs
right.
and you lose as a 16-point home favorite to Kentucky,
can't happen.
And Kentucky hadn't scratched since.
No.
Brock Vandegrift, for one night he was one morning and afternoon he was good. The rest of the time he's been nothing to distinguish himself by. And then when you lead away at the end in your year of years, how should that be rewarded?
Yeah, it can't be. And you go back to Vandegrift. It's the only good game he's played this year. Brett, he was benched last week, and they just haven't met those expectations.
He went for 243 against Ole Miss, and Ole Miss. Everybody in the Ole Miss world wanting to make the Kentucky defensive line into something special. Jarquez Hunter went for 278.
Crazy. Insane. And so, even some of their wins this year for Ole Miss have not been convincing. I mean, that Oklahoma win was not convincing by any means. So, yeah, I'm with you.
Mentioned Coach West, number one in offense, number two in offense, number one in defense. All those offensive numbers were racked up against that September slop, those opponents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Mississippi State, F.
Mississippi State, I give them a D.
Yeah, you gave them a D?
I gave them a D.
Good, okay, I'll upgrade my F to a D because I wanted to give them a D, but I guess that's the curve in me on them. They're on the rise, though. I mean, they're looking better, I guess, But in the class of Brett, it's an F. In Brett's class, it would have been an F.
I'm fine giving them an F as well, but I'll give them a D.
Got smoked by Toledo and got hammered by Arkansas.
Sure did, yeah.
Mizzou, D.
I give Missouri a C.
Almost losing to Vandy. I got him at a C, too.
Down Vandy. Vandy's been playing well this year, Darian.
Oklahoma, first year in the SEC. They told us they were SEC ready, are they?
Brett, they were ready for the SEC. They are not ready for the SEC. They get my other
They're
F.
ready to be homecoming team.
Yeah, no, that was I
got an F.
Yeah, 3 Fs all across the board.
This year.
Yeah.
OUF.
There ain't no Boomer and Sooner.
South Carolina.
South Carolina, I have them a C.
Good, great. I have them a C. I would have given them a plus if we could have let the plus, but definitely a C. Definitely a C. That was my sleeper team. They're going to get Missouri later on this year. Watch.
Okay.
If OU is OUF, USC is USCC.
Okay, I like it.
Texas.
Texas, I give them B.
That's where I am.
Yeah.
A good B.
Yeah.
Good B, because undefeated would you get you would have gotten you an A.
Sure.
So yeah, good solid B.
But they haven't looked dominant this year. They just even in some of their wins they haven't looked great. So I give them a B.
I'm sorry, alphabetically I skipped Tennessee.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. B for Tennessee.
I give Tennessee. I'll give them a B. This was one that I was really back and forth on, but I'll give them a B.
I'll give them an A because they are one of the teams that are realizing, like you said, they are who they are. They're playing up to par, and that's what you're asking for.
Yeah, I'm with you. I give them an A. I give them an A. I'm back.
Okay.
Up. I'm back up.
I really wish I'd have signed up for y'all's classes.
I think, you look at this team in preseason, it was, just get ready for this freshman to sling it around. And then you go into the season, freshmen haven't been that great, but they're still able to go to that run game. They're able to rely on their defense.
Well, he was great against Chattanooga and Kent State.
That's right. And so, but they've been able to go to the run game. That defense has been a lot better than I think a lot of people thought it would be. So I'll go with an A.
And you beat Alabama at home for the second time in a row.
Sure.
Like you did what you were supposed to do.
Sign up for that.
I sign up for it.
Sure.
Texas A&M. A.
A. How could you not give it an A? Only undefeated team in the SEC.
Yeah.
They definitely get an A.
And they're much ballyhooed because they were the number one field, the toughest field, and we kind of gave them a lot of grief about it. But they're looking like Cal Field is what it's supposed to be.
I'll give credit to the team.
And I go alphabetically all the way down, and I said I only had 2 A's, and it went all the way down to A&M and Vandy getting A's.
Yes, we anchored down around here. Brent, you don't even need to ask me. You know what I have them at a
Yep.
A. I don't care if we don't do plus or minuses. They get an A plus in my book.
Absolutely, all around.
Maybe take the plus
all right,
away
for
'cause they
Vandy
lost
to
Georgia
keep
State.
Vandy to keep that A at the end of the year, what do they have to do in their last 4 games? Auburn at Auburn, South Carolina at home, at LSU, home against Tennessee.
I say win the next
to keep
two.
that A.
Win the next two. The other two are daunting tasks. 16 and number 7 in the country.
No.
Do not lose to Auburn or South Carolina.
Darren, you're making it way too. You're putting way too much at stake. Just win one.
Just win one?
You get bowl eligible and you're Vandy. I mean, you get an A. I do not care how it comes.
I'm with you, Brian.
Get bowl eligible.
Now, if I will deviate from our scoring if they win the next two, regardless what they do at Baton Rouge and against Tennessee. I'm going to go a plus, A plus.
They deserve it, don't they?
Down. Yes.
I'll change for Vandy.
I love
and
that.
at Vandy, A plus. They all make A pluses on everything.
Yeah. They're scoffing at us.
There are no
for giving
plus or
them an A.
minuses handed out on a college campus.
No,
it is simple math.
Just A, B,
when
C,
you do a
D,
grade
F.
point, there's no plus or minus in there.
No, not at all. Not at all. But yes, they all have A's at Vanderbilt. Now the football team.
3-hour class.
Out there.
You make an A.
Right.
It's 4 times 3.
That's right.
It's not 4 times 3.1.
Or get difficult.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't forget they toted the goalpost 3 miles.
Sure.
That's awesome.
That in and of itself gets an A. I mean, that's
pluses and minuses are for a bunch of babies that can't take a stand.
Well, yes, I agree with you on that. I know we need to get to a break here, but since we're talking about Vanderbilt, we might have to bring this up with Kevin Sweeney at 5 o'clock. Speaking of Vanderbilt, on their roster, if you go to their roster right now, the entire team position listed at point guard. New coach says they want everybody to act like a point guard. For Vanderbilt. Every single player listed as a point guard. Even the big men, they're a point guard in their books because they want everyone to act like a point guard. So whatever that means, Mark Byington has a team full of point guards. So, but let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Summer may be over, but yard work, it goes on. Don't worry, Colonial Hardware makes it easy for you. Colonial Hardware has all the lawn and garden tools you need from the best brands in the business. Ferris, Snapper, Husqvarna, Toro, Echo, Shindaiwa, and Billigo. Servicing most brands of lawn equipment, Colonial's master service techs will keep you going year-round. Colonial Hardware, family-owned and operated, and serving you for nearly 50 years. Next to Bass Pro Lane at Sycamore View, and online at colonialhardwareinc.com.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people, obviously. But what's more, MediShare members like it a lot. Their satisfaction rate is 98%. Imagine that. And MediShare is a proven thing, too, for over 30 years. It's a Christian community of hundreds of thousands of people now. And here's the thing. If you join before October 30th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee, so you save even more right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call, and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is October 30th, so call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number, 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
All 24-month lease, $650 acquisition fee, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte RE834 938, MSRP 22615, Telluride RG56 3000, MSRP 40805, Sportage S73 40278, MSRP 29135, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/31/2024 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, are you ready to give the Mid-South your best deal ever at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah?
I'm always ready, Randy.
Gas prices got you down? How about 41 MPG Highway in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS at $233.86 a month, $34.99 do it signing. 2025 Kia Sport is $269 per month, $34.99 do it signing. And get ready for the holidays and hit the road in a 2024 Kia Telluride S, $408.62 per month, $39.99 do it signing. All 24-month lease.
Plus, all those bad boys come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, Southaven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Or online anytime at KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Wilson's Pro Wash, your residential and commercial pressure washing service and control. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All right, my big number today, I actually went through like 3 or 4 big numbers before settling on the one that I'm going to go with. And I actually mentioned it earlier. My big number is the number 6. Freddie Freeman homered again last night. He has been fantastic throughout this World Series. He is now, with that home run last night, he became the first player ever to homer in 6 straight World Series games, which is just incredible to think of. Maybe put some money on him tonight to hit a home run. I don't know what the odds are for him to hit a home run. I'm sure they're pretty good, but he has been on an absolute tear and has been a huge part of the reason that the Dodgers are up 3-1 right now.
My big number is 15. I had it last week, and it's gone down, but there are 15 one-loss teams left in FBS. I mentioned the undefeateds yesterday, Darian, but today do the one-loss teams. And the Memphis Tigers are in that group. There are only 4 out of 16 one-loss teams remaining in the SEC. Wow. That's A&M, Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee. The very real idea of the SEC only getting 3 in the playoffs or less, I think exists if they chew up on each other in the month of November. And if you don't get some separation, I don't think it's necessarily because everybody's that good. I think everybody's just good in the SEC. I don't know that I've seen great. Georgia for a little bit, Texas for a little bit, Alabama for a half, and LSU kind of for a quarter or two. A&M did Saturday night, but I think it's good. I don't think it's great.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, we were just talking to Coach Tommy West, a little over an hour ago, and he was talking about, before the season, he thought the SEC could get 5 teams in, and now the idea that
I did too.
3,
maybe
5. Even less. Yeah, I mean, I think we were all kind of sitting there talking about maybe 5 teams from the SEC, and now the fact that we're talking about, at best 3 is just wild.
And Brian, your number for Freddie Freeman is plus 460 tonight for that home run.
Maybe.
Yeah, well,
maybe, I don't know.
Big price though. I mean, but I as I did it in the grades, I go back to opening weekend and I saw Miami put it to Florida. I saw LSU lose to Southern Cal.
Yeah.
I saw A&M get handled at Kyle Field by Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Opening weekend matters as much as last weekend, doesn't it?
No, it absolutely does.
Notre Dame take a loss too.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's being SEC, right?
Sure, but still, I mean, you're just talking about those teams in there, and Notre Dame's a big factor because depending on what they do the rest of the way, I mean, that could be a team if they get in that could block out an SEC. I mean, it's interesting as we get later into the season.
It is, and yesterday we talked about it in your absence, Brian. I think Notre Dame's going to win out.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they're going to be the 5 seed. That's the very best they can be.
Sure, yeah. I don't know. I haven't looked at the rest of Notre Dame's football schedule, but I'm sure
it's pretty.
I'm sure I would agree.
It's
with
pretty
you.
conducive.
Yeah. Let's see.
I went over it yesterday.
Let's see.
And now that's going to be fun when they play Army in that setting at Yankee Stadium.
That will be fun.
But come on, it's Notre Dame versus Army.
Exactly. So Florida State, Virginia, Army, and then on the road at USC. Yeah, I mean
Thanksgiving weekend.
Very, very good opportunity to go undefeated and win out those last 4 games.
All right, and here's a case they can make. Just win by 1 over USC.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we did something the big bad SEC couldn't do on opening weekend against USC.
Yeah, you definitely make that argument. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. So
I mean, fair and honest is fair and honest.
Yeah, I mean,
if it was worth fighting for, again, 10 teams, I would be leading the charge.
Sure.
You got to give me something to fight for.
100%. So, yeah, no, that's interesting because Notre Dame here out of nowhere, I think everyone counted them out after that Northern Illinois loss, but now
if they seat me at the bad table next summer at Atlanta at SEC Media Days, I can accept it.
That's right. Yes, you'll still do your great job there. Bad table or good
Thank
table.
you. I'll try.
Yeah, that's right.
They can put me over at the bad table.
That's fine. But hey, you're gonna tell the truth if it needs
real
to be
quick.
told.
Real quick, you want to hear the best conspiracy I heard all day today?
Oh, Brett, I love conspiracy theories. Hit me with it. Can't wait.
Ole Miss person says the reason why Ole Miss didn't get the home game next Saturday night against Georgia is that's the league punishing Ole Miss for faking the injuries.
I love that.
You know what my response was to this friend of mine?
What was that?
I said, if you run this conspiracy by anybody else, he said, no, you're the only one that's heard it so far. I said, do yourself a favor and don't repeat that. You sound like a nut.
Let's keep it that way. No. I love that. That's fantastic. I mean, hey, maybe he's on to something. Maybe a little.
He's on to nothing.
That is great. So who is the night game?
He might be on something.
I knew you were coming with that. I was waiting on it. I said someone's going to be on something, but not on to anything.
That's hilarious.
But I said, don't advance that notion to another soul. You sound like a fool.
I'm glad I heard it, but keep that one to yourself. Yeah. Don't tell anybody else that. Well, we need to get to another break and wrap up this second hour. And when we come back, don't look now, but the start of the college basketball season only a couple days away. We got to start talking some college hoops. Nobody better to do that with than Kevin Sweeney. He joins us next.
Volkswagen Germantown. Hey, what's happening, dude?
I'm going back in time, Randy, with 0% for 60 months on all 2024 Tiguan's. When's the last time you've heard that?
It's been a while, Marty. Hey, what else you got?
I've got all Peak Edition Atlases at $5,000 off MSRP.
That's awesome. Every Peak Edition Atlas, $5,000 off MSRP.
Or take your pick from 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta SE, $289 a month.
2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta SE, $289 a month. Great Scott McNate, you do got it going on at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
As for me, Marty McNate at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, and remember, your future is what you make of it.
Get out here and see us 7420 Winchester Road or shop online, GossipVWG.com.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state, Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Contractors, are you in town for a job or getting ready to do a job for a customer during their holiday shutdown? Then you should visit TSS Supply for your concrete coatings and supplies. Why wait for materials when TSS Supply has everything you need in stock and they can get it to you today or within 24 hours? TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body
already stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Need good food fast? You need 901 Eats to Go in Bartlett. Meat in 2 sides. Chicken wings and tenders, cheeseburgers, Philly cheesesteak, even catfish, plus sides and drinks. 901 Eats to Go has everything you want when you want it at prices you can afford. Call 901-417-8232. Pick up DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. That's Eats with a Z. Delicious and convenient. 901 Eats to Go. 3135 Kirby Wooden Road in Bartlett. Good food fast.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
You say you stand by your man. Tell me something I don't understand. You said you love me, and that's a fact.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour. And joining us now, he joins us throughout the college basketball season, and we're starting it up only a couple days away from opening night. I can't wait, and I certainly can't wait to talk some college basketball with Kevin Sweeney from Sports Illustrated. Go give him a follow on Twitter at CBB_Central. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. A ton to get into, but how's your off season been?
It's been good, man. It's been a little relaxing, a lot of work as you would expect, but nice to see the sun a little bit and kind of move out from the cave. So it's been good. I mean, it's like 80 degrees and sunny in Chicago still. So
holy cow.
This call feels like fall as much as anything.
That's right.
Yeah, it does. Kevin, I thought you were going to say what off season. We really got the jolt last week with Coach Bennett at UVA. Do you, before opening night, and it's marching closer, do you think anybody else would join him with "I've had enough, I can't take this anymore"?
I doubt it. I think, especially at this point, guys are kind of in game prep mode, and that kind of re-energizes a lot of guys who are otherwise frustrated. I certainly don't think Tony will be the last to walk away early. I think part of that's just the money's different now than it's been in years past. Guys who've been making $4+ million for a decade don't feel the urgency that I think other guys might have. And if you're going to deal with, quite frankly, a lot of annoying stuff as part of the job, why are you pushing until you're 70? Right? I don't think that will be the model for a lot of guys going forward. But yeah, certainly a surprise for Tony to do it when he did. I think it wasn't a shock that he was interested in walking away. I think there was rumors last spring. Certainly would have been more rumors this coming spring. And instead I think decided if he wasn't going to be all in, he needed to give it to someone who will be, and that guy will be Juan Sanchez.
Yeah. Well, a ton to get into, but I want to start off with the Tigers. Memphis getting ready for another season under Penny Hardaway. It's been a weird offseason, very late in the offseason process. 4 assistants were let go. We had the anonymous letter situation swirling around. And now you look at this team, very transfer heavy. The only scholarship player returning is Nicholas Jourdain. How do you view this offseason for the Memphis Tigers, and how do you view this roster that was constructed over the offseason?
Hey, that's probably the word, right? I mean, it's been up and down, even into the last week or so with the Tyreek Smith situation. And sort of unfortunately, this is not the first time it's been chaotic with them. I think it's sort of the hallmark of Penny era. And at the end of the day, the season gives them an opportunity to say, all right, the offseason, but we built a good team. And I think on paper, this is a team that should be an NCAA tournament team. I'm not sure how much more than that they are, but 2 really, really good guards in Haggerty and Hunter. Obviously, both guys people have gotten to see a little bit now with these kind of high level exhibition games. But to have those 2 guys anchoring things, and then older bigs with Danger and Cisse, you mentioned Jourdain. So, look, I think they're by far the most talented team in the American. I think they're a group that should be able to match up with a lot of the teams on their schedule, and I know it's a daunting one early on. Question now, and onus is really on Penny now to get this group playing together and have them win from day one.
The American, would you describe that as a major conference or a mid-major conference?
Probably closer to mid-major than major at this point. Obviously the turnover throughout the league has hurt it. I do think UAB will be really good. I think FAU will stay. It won't be as good as they've been, but will be really good again. I think John Jacobs is a great hire there. But, Memphis is just dwarfing the rest of the league in resources right now. And I think if you look at pretty much any high major, budget, sort of NIL-wise, but also just basketball in general, it's just a different world than most of the American schools are dealing with.
So Kevin, at the end of this year, how many bids for the AAC?
I would say 1 plus Memphis, if that makes sense. I think Memphis is an at-large level team. Obviously, they have to, earn it with their non-conference schedule and have an opportunity to do that, right? If Memphis wins the conference tournament, there's a very real chance that this is a one-bid league. And quite frankly, like the way Memphis played last year and stumbled throughout league play, they can't afford to do that again. They're going to have to win this league, ideally rather resoundingly, if they don't want to sweat on Selection Sunday.
I agree with everything you said, Kevin. And if we get to the end of the year, and the first thing I want to do is take the F word, firing. He's not going to be fired. We're going to take that off the table. But if at the end of this year, and Memphis is not on in that field of 68th, they're not on that bracket on Selection Sunday, and you've said that they dwarf everybody else with funding, with NIL, with facilities, how they travel, how they eat, just how they roll, how this program is perceived, then what do you do?
You got to find a way to evaluate everything, right? As you said, is it a firing? Maybe not. Is it pressure that makes Penny not want to be the head coach of Memphis anymore? Perhaps, but I don't know what happens if this group isn't there. And look, it'd be one thing if this group is the first 4 out of the NIT and just gets beat up on beat out by an inch because they lost in the conference. That'd be one thing. If this group, if this is a repeat of last season with the collapse in conference play, with really a mid-pack finish and what we described as a mid-major league being nowhere close to the bubble, if that's the case, then I think it becomes, I don't know if untenable is the word, but it becomes increasingly hard to envision a future with Penny leading the program.
And Kevin, I think firing's off the table. I think through not only this year but through next year. I think his contract is through June 30th of 2026. I think for a lot of reasons he's going to coach through the life of that contract, and I wouldn't want administratively them to make it untenable on him. In fact, I have even said, and I'm just using loose numbers to make my case. Right now, if travel budget is $1,000 a person, this is the time to increase it to $2,000. Don't play any Mickey Mouse administrative games to make him uncomfortable and to make him want to leave or have a settlement on a contract. This is the time to pour everything into it and leave no stone unturned, where at the end of it you can say, we went through the life of the contract, we gave you everything you asked for, it just didn't work, we're not renewing in 2 years.
Look, I agree with that in general. Like, I think there's a lot of cases where ADs kind of cut out the legs from a head coach. I think that's the worst possible move, especially now with NIL and how direct it is. Like, if you don't have money, you're not getting players. And I think Memphis needs to pour into Penny and give him every opportunity. I think so far they have for the most part. But look, there's no. Do not give any excuse as to why this thing isn't rolling at the highest level. And if it's not working, then there's only one person to blame at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Kevin, you every single offseason rank every college basketball team for Sports Illustrated 364 this year with the addition of Mercyhurst and West Georgia. I have so many questions. How difficult is it to rank 364 college basketball teams? What is the timetable for this? What does this look like for you? What resources are you using? Walk us through how we get 364 teams ranked on Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, I mean it's a month-long process. Obviously, it's not every day for hours on end, right? I kind of piece it out over the off season. Try to rank basically each conference individually, like what their standings might look like. Then sort of group teams into buckets where they might be nationally, kind of 100 to 150, let's say, or 50 to 100, yada yada, and then rank inside the tiers. Adjust as you start getting reports in October of practices and not so much scrimmages. Try not to do too much with that, but you're certainly injuries and rotations and things like that as you find it out. But yeah, I mean, it would not be an easy thing to sit down on October 1st and say, I'm going to do this by November 1st. It takes
too late.
Yeah. You need the time to do it right, and I've gotten to do it a couple years now, so I at least feel good about the process and not always the result, right? I mean, inevitably it's throwing darts to an extent, but it's
Kevin. It's like that New Year's resolution of I'm going to lose 60 pounds this year. Well, just mathematical sense, easier to probably go 5 pounds a month than to get to November 1st and okay, I got to lose 30.
That's right.
It's too late then.
No, 100%. Yeah, it's got to be a month-long process.
It does. Kevin Sweeney with us, and so glad to have him all the way through. One shiny moment coming up next spring. Kevin, I ask you this every year around this time. If you could sign up for one team, kind of season on the brink, they let you inside everything, every practice, every meeting, every bus ride, every plane ride, what team would you want to cover?
Man, I think Duke and UConn would be the two you choose from. I think I would take UConn just because, increasingly you hear the legend of the Dan Furley practice and the way that they work and how different it is than every other team in the country. And I would just love to see it every day, see his highs, see his lows. To me, he's the most compelling figure in college basketball, one of the most compelling figures in all of sports, certainly in college sports right now. And just to be around it as he chases perfection and tries to kind of maintain that standard, I think would be a lot of fun.
Well, you mentioned Duke in there. I watched Countdown to Craziness, and I watched a lot of both of their exhibition games. I know there's going to be a lot of talk about Cooper Flagg. There has already been, there will be, and for good reason. He's a great player. I cannot take my eyes off of Con Knipple. This kid is a great player already. He's making plays. He can shoot the three ball. He's getting in there, getting rebounds. He's a good passer. I hear so many people talk about, especially in this day and age of college basketball, that you got to be old, got to be an older team to make that make that push through March in the tournament. And I've heard some people kind of downplay Duke for that reason because of the young players they have on this roster. What do you think that Duke can do with this roster, and what do you think of Con Knipple?
Yeah, Con's been awesome. One of those guys that you can't find anyone who's been in the gym with Duke who says a bad word. Usually kind of word spread. An NBA scout texts you and says, oh, yeah, this guy Con Knipple was pretty darn good today.
Yeah.
And then you get the same text from someone else and the same text from a media member who gets to pop through, right? And over time, it builds this chorus, and that's really what it's been with Con. They're young, and that's a challenge, but I think they have mature players. I think they have guys who understand their roles. Right? These aren't just guys who need to be the best player, need to have the ball in their hands. Knipple is a shooter. Malowatch is a protector. Flagg is that kind of do-everything guy. And they can complement it with older guys, whether it's the portal additions, whether it's the experienced backcourt guys with Foster and Proctor who've been in the program. That's rare, right? That's sort of the model I think that Duke will want moving forward. I think it's the model that Calipari should be embracing at Arkansas now, right? Like you have to balance it all, and it helps to have 3 top 10 picks, right? That's an amazing starting place, but I think Duke's done a great job of surrounding those guys with the right type of pieces.
Yeah.
If I told you my preseason Final Four, I never pick a national champion. I just pick Final Four. Here are my Final Four teams: Connecticut, Duke, Kansas, and BYU.
I like it.
BYU would be. That would be I don't think it'd be a shock. It'd be a surprise. I do think Kevin Young is going to be fantastic there. Right? There's so many examples of kind of the NBA coach that doesn't necessarily translate. I think Kevin Young was on his way to being an NBA head coach and has all the tools. He also has the resources. I mean, talk about NIL. They are leading the country right now in terms of resources. I do think they're a little reliant on the two freshmen, Demi, Cam Catchings, who is a Purdue commit. But they have a great balance. They're going to play an NBA-style offense. And I'm really excited to watch them. I think their ceiling is really high if it gets it right.
Mm-hmm. A player for BYU I've heard so many people talk about throughout the offseason as we get closer to season is Igor Dimin, the Russian basketball player that is part of a lot of international players that have kind of made their way over. I remember in the offseason having you on and kind of talking about a lot of international players committing to different college basketball teams. It felt like it was more than usual. Who are some of the international guys that will be playing college basketball this year to keep an eye on?
Yeah, you mentioned Demeen. He's a stud. He's top 10 pick. Kasparis Jakashunas, who's going to Illinois, is an electric passer. He's a point guard, 6'4", can make shots, but is an elite distributor. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Certainly one I would circle. Creighton got Fedor Zugic. They're working on eligibility with him, but I mean, talk about a guy who's 22 and has played 4 seasons of professional basketball and will now be a quote-unquote freshman at Creighton once he's cleared. It's a wild situation. I don't think it's tenable long-term, but a great loophole to take advantage of if you're Creighton, and he will be a big-time piece for them. Illinois also got Tomislav Ivicic. He's a center, brother of Big Z, who's at Arkansas now, was at Kentucky last year. It's a big wave of them, and I think if this group is successful, the floodgates will really open in 25.
Who will be this year's Dalton Connect?
Man, if I had that crystal ball, I could have sold that information for a lot of money in the spring, wouldn't I?
That's right.
I think expecting anyone to be his level of production is probably unfair. I do think the one guy in the portal who I think has a chance to really have a monster year is John L. Davis at Arkansas, right? He's a guy who has produced at the highest level. He's familiar name for a lot of folks because of what he did at FAU, right? It's not the big transition that I think a lot of low and mid-major guys have to go through. And he goes into a system where he'll have the ball in his hands a lot. He'll have an opportunity to go get shots up on a good team. We saw what Cal did with Antonio Reeves the last 2 years. He was phenomenal. I think John L. has a chance to be in that All-American conversation this year for the Razorbacks.
Who can dream of going deeper in March, Mark Pope or John Calipari?
Another good one. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid with Pope. I think the talent level is...
So is Cal.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
He said that's who they should have hired.
Yeah. I like Pope a lot. I think he's a great offensive mind. I don't know that their talent level is title good, but I think it's certainly Sweet 16 or Elite 8 good. And once you get in that mix, who knows what can happen. And they play a great style. I think they'll win the math game with a lot of teams in terms of just putting up more threes than their opponent, forcing their opponent to bad shots, taking a lot of good shots, and they have the shooters to knock them down. So I'm a fan of the Kentucky group. Obviously, it'd be good to see him in action against high-level competition, but early on, a lot of good signs there.
How about this one locally? Who goes deeper in March, Chris Beard or Chris Jans?
I like Ole Miss. I really do. I know Jans has done a phenomenal job, and they beefed up their roster in a big way. I love Josh Hubbard, but Ole Miss was impressive what they did in the portal. I think when you look at what Beard has done in year 2 at his program, it's been pretty impressive across the board. I think they're in for a big jump, and the Dre Davis kid from Seton Hall has a chance to have a pretty huge year in that system, I think.
You mentioned BYU and kind of that idea of they're going to put up more threes than everyone they face. Another team that kind of has that same mindset, Alabama. They either want a three or a layup. That's pretty much the only shots they want their guys taking. How good can this Alabama team be preseason number 2? I've had conversations with a lot of people saying, they should have been ranked ahead of Kansas in the preseason AP poll. What do you think about the team that Nate Oates has, and how far can Alabama go this year?
I think they're more talented than Kansas. I mean, you guys saw it with the exhibition against Memphis.
Yeah.
They had 4 of their top 8 or so out, and they
Crazy.
still look so overwhelming talent-wise. Sears is obviously phenomenal, but they're young guys like LeBaron Thielen and Darion Reed are fantastic. Cliff O'Mori helps them up front. Grant Nelson healthy. He's a dynamic player, and again, they're going to win the math game as you said, but they have the 4 and 5 star talent to back it up now too. And look, I think the momentum with that program is so high. They're my number 1 team in the country. I wouldn't fault anyone for having Kansas or Houston, certainly UConn in that conversation just because of coaching. But I think Bama's got the best roster in the sport.
Yeah. Another conversation I've heard a lot of people talk, every year there's the conversation of who is the best conference in college basketball. And a lot of people this year talking about it could be the SEC kind of overtaking how good the Big 12 has been in recent years. I know before season, no games have been played yet, but for you, which conference will be better this year, the Big 12 or the SEC?
Look, I think the SEC has done an incredible job in the portal. I think being ahead of the game NIL-wise in football has helped them in basketball. It's translated over. I think the depth in that league is insane. Like when you're looking at the 13th best roster in the SEC, and you're pulling like Georgia, who brings in a 5-star recruit in Asa Newell and a ton of transfers. Like the talent does not say you're going to come in 13th, right, at all. But I still think I would lean towards the Big 12. I think the top end, 5 teams in the preseason top 10, all very earned, in my opinion. All those teams to me are Final Four level good on paper in the preseason. And I think if you have a league that's strong up top, it's hard to top it anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Kevin, after what could be a disappointing college football first 12-team expanded bracket for the SEC, by springtime we could be boasting we're a basketball league.
I mean, look, it's unbelievable what a transformation it's been over the last, really, not even a decade. I mean, I think 8 years ago the SEC got 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. Now they have 9 in the preseason top 25. Again, I mentioned the NIL commitment. I think it's the commitment with coaching hires and staff and investment really top to bottom throughout this program. But the league is in a really healthy place basketball wise. Obviously, the Alabama schools leading the way right now with Bama and Auburn and what they've been able to accomplish with Oates and Pearl. But I mean, it's an awesome hoops league, and I think you start to see the atmosphere is really coming out as well throughout the league. Even schools that maybe traditionally lean more heavily into football have shown out for their teams. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Kevin, last thing for you. Next week when we talk to you, this game will have already been played, so I want to get your thoughts on it. The big one on opening night, Gonzaga and Baylor. In your rankings, you have them 7 for Gonzaga, 9 for Baylor. Break down this game for me and your expectations for both these teams this season.
I mean, it's first of all, it's refreshing to talk about a game. I mean, it's like coming up for water. But look, I think I'm really excited about Baylor. I think if you were to script out what the kind of ideal roster construction is nowadays, it'd be something like this, with 2 high-level transfers who played at an elite level in Roach and in Norchad Omier, a 5-star, top 5 recruit in BJ Edgecombe, who I think will really catch a lot of attention early on. He's super athletic, so fun to watch. And then a coach who plays a wide-open system in Scott Drew. I think they're going to be great. But Gonzaga brings a lot back with Nembhard and Ike, key pieces of that team last year that by the end was one of the best teams in the country. Obviously, so much talk there on the bubble, what's going to happen. All of a sudden, they're a 5 seed in the Sweet 16. I think this group has earned its top 10 label, and the hope is that their transfers, Caleb Battle and Michael Ajayi, can level them up back into the national title conversation.
And remember, Kevin, Norchad Omier, he started his college basketball career right here in this area in Jonesboro with Arkansas State before he went to the U.
Yeah, what a story. I mean, has really grown his game year over year. I mean, probably not, certainly not the same player as he was then, but a great eval by that staff, and has continued to get better, and now has an opportunity to make a ton of money playing basketball this year and compete for a national championship.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, always fun chatting with you. Glad you're back with us. And here in a couple
We're
days,
ready.
we'll have basketball.
Can't wait, man. It's going to be great.
Thanks, Kevin. Kevin Sweeney joining us from Sports Illustrated and CBB Central. Go give him a follow at CBB_Central. Hard to believe the season's only a couple days away.
The question I asked him, if you could sign up for one team, all access, anything, anywhere you wanted to go, who would you cover?
Okay, I'm gonna give you two answers. I might actually.
I got a quick one.
Okay,
Arkansas. I'm going to Cal.
Okay.
I'm going straight to Cal.
Okay.
That's Darren. That's good.
Okay,
That is.
I'm gonna go with two. My first one's kind of more of a national one, and then one just me just being a college basketball sicko is who I would want to go see. First one, I don't even think it's really a sicko. First one's Duke. I would want to go see Cooper Flagg. I love this Colin Knippel kid. This team I think is going to be fun. So I'd go Duke. My second one, though, maybe a little more off the radar. That's why I put two. Arkansas State. We talked about them a lot last year, Brett.
Coach Hodgson.
What he has done in year one, I think year two they make another jump. I would love to kind of spend an offseason more, that mid-major type team. I just love to see what that offseason, what that season looked like.
How about you, Brett?
I'm going to go to a city. And let me kind of get on the USC, UCLA, all the time following Muss and Cronin.
That'd be a lot of fun.
And the strange part about it, the most important or the most famous player there would be a female. It would be Juju Watkins.
That's right. Yeah, over at USC. She's fantastic.
Sure would over at USC.
Speaking of that, I know we need to get to a break. I saw walking through Monday, there's a doubleheader college basketball. It's going to be on ESPN in Paris. Playing in Paris. How about that? So it's going to be on middle of the day.
What are tip times on that?
So it must be night games in Paris because it's like noon here, I think, is when either the first or second game starts. So, and I kind of remember the Olympics, the last events would kind of start at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm thinking, noon there is probably about 5 o'clock or so, maybe 6 o'clock. If I had to guess. So yeah, a doubleheader in Paris on the women's side. So that'll be fun.
Monday you'll have a line, a game with a point spread in it at 11 o'clock Monday morning between Charleston and SIU, Southern Illinois.
Brad, it's too early to get me that excited. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I've already got my spreadsheet ready for Monday. We're locked in, ready to go.
And I want your Final Four, but both of y'all's Final Four Monday. I went with mine: UConn, Duke, Kansas. Everybody's got that, and BYU.
I like that BYU pick in there. I'll definitely have to get that together, and we'll definitely get to that on Monday. But before we get to a break, let me remind you our 5 o'clock sponsor. That's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984. Their talented team, they're ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, 2025 Range Rover Velar, or the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. And it's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Also take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. And don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call today at 877-259-6169 or go online to jaguarbluffcity.com. Let's get to another break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the rendezvous.
This is John Vergas.
When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later.
I think it's
Still here in
Padula.
the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis.
I believe
We
so.
Sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Get your days on rockin' at Gossip Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the pike. And I've got Rockin' Ronnie waiting to put you in a new ride.
Randy, listen to this. 2024 Dodge Durango SRT, $10,750 off MSRP. A 2024 Dodge Hornet RT, $8,500 off MSRP or 0% for 72 months. A 2023 Charger Scat Pack, $10,000 off MSRP. And the 2024 Jeep Gladiator Sport, $10,439 off MSRP. What do you think about that, Randy?
I think you're rockin', Ronnie. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossip Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the pike or shop online. RC 126,942, MSRP 90,035. Hornet R380 8452, MSRP 44,620. Charger PH 592 276, MSRP 60,985. Gladiator RL 106204, MSRP 56,265. Includes all rebates and incentives and excludes PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Dealer stock only.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD on the scene of a couple of accidents out here. It's really starting to get busy now through the Midtown area on 240 South at South Parkway, and right there at the Midtown interchange as traffic increases south of Memphis on 55 down through DeSoto County, working your way through South Haven. 240's gotten heavier here on the 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound. At the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County, you can adopt a pet and change a life. For more information on the pets that are available for adoption, just log on to their website at memphisHumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we got about 30 minutes left in today's show. Couple things to get to during this segment. I'll start off with some Grizzlies news. This came out while we were talking to Kevin Sweeney, DeMichael Cole, about 12 minutes ago, reporting. We talked about this earlier. John Morant, John Conchar, and Zach Edey, all three of the guys that were listed as questionable on the status report from the Grizzlies, all three of those guys will be available tonight for the Grizzlies as they host the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll see John Morant back out there. He missed Monday's game against Chicago, and we'll see Zach Edey out there as well. He's played in every game so far this year, but had some soreness, and there was thought that the Grizzlies might hold him out for this game tonight. But it looks like everyone will be available, at least the guys that have been available for the Grizzlies.
Sure want to be fair and be patient. It's 4 games in. Tonight's game 5, first of a back-to-back tonight and tomorrow night. But we were talking on Monday with DeMichael, and Darren and I broached this subject yesterday in your absence, Bryant.
Okay.
Remember when I said to Darian, he agreed, in some shape, form, or fashion, this should be a 3-1 week.
Right.
Well, got the one behind us.
That's right.
Monday night.
Yeah.
The rest of the week's got to be the 3 part.
That's right, and you definitely hope that it can be.
No freak out.
No,
no. But this is a time to catch these teams.
Sure, 100%. And so you look at the the rest of this week, and Nets tonight. I feel really good about tonight. I think they get that win.
I do too.
Bucks have been struggling.
Vegas feels good.
They feel very good. What was it, 11.5 the spread for tonight's game? The Bucks, they're a good team. They've got some questions though. They've kind of struggled to start the season. So maybe you can get them. You certainly would rather get them now when they're kind of having some issues, struggling, than later in the season when they figure it out. And then on the road against 76ers, they've got some injuries. So I'm with you. I think you this is the time to get these teams. But you're right. I mean, that one loss is out of the way. Now if we want to be right, they got to go perfect the rest of the way. And I think, any time in a professional setting for professional sports, that's going to be hard to do. So, I hope they can get it done, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough. I'd love to have that one back Monday night. I want this quick start because I think this is a softer patch in the schedule.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean later in the season, it's going to get a lot tougher, and these teams are only going to work through issues and get better. I mean, you're talking, you look at this stretch, in December where you've got on the road against the Pelicans, on the road against the Thunder, on the road against the Suns, on the road against the Kings, on the road against the Warriors. Then you get to come home and you play the Mavericks, the team that was just in the NBA Finals. So playing in the Western Conference, we did our predictions last week, and it was so hard trying to figure out the Western Conference because there's so many teams that can get you, and there are going to be some rough patches for the Grizzlies. So I think you're right. Now, early, when you have an opportunity against some of these teams, especially some of these Eastern Conference teams, this is really when you need to feast on those before you really get into the thick of playing these other Western Conference teams.
Yeah, you better do it now, and catching the only time Brooklyn and Milwaukee like Chicago on Monday night coming through all year.
Yeah.
So it won't be any chance to get them back if you like. That's done with Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely. So hated to see that loss, 126-123. Speaking of the Grizzlies, yesterday night, Rudy Gay announced his retirement from the NBA, obviously a former Grizzly. He wrote a story in the Players Tribune after playing 17 seasons in the NBA. He wrote a story about just kind of, his time as a basketball player, his time in the NBA. But he started the Player Tribune piece. Darian, did you catch any of this?
Yes, I did. He with the Mike Conley piece. That's where you're going with Mike?
Not with that. I didn't get that far. I'll be honest. I did not get super far because I was stuck. I was locked in on the beginning of it. His story about, I believe he was with the Grizzlies when the story he was talking about, but playing against Kobe Bryant. And he said him and Kobe went back. They were cool with each other. So before the game, they're, hey man, what's up? Hey man, how's it going? You've been good, awesome. Game starts. At some point after half in this game, they got Kobe's guarding Rudy Gay, and Rudy Gay catches him with his shoulder, kind of in the face, and kind of the side of the face, and Kobe goes down, and he starts bleeding. And so Rudy's like, oh, Kobe, are you good? You all right? You all right? Kobe doesn't respond. Kobe gets up. They wipe the blood off him. He goes back down the court, and they keep playing. Finally, we get a whistle. We get some free throws. They're at the line next to each other. It's Rudy Gay and Kobe Bryant. He looks over to Kobe, and he goes, man, Kobe, good? Like, I know I got you with my shoulder. Are you okay? Nothing. So he says it again to him. Kobe, you good? I got you. And Kobe looks to him, stares at him for a second, and then goes, don't ever ask me if I'm okay. And then drops like 24 more points. And after the game, he goes on to SportsCenter, and they're like, man, you really heated up in the second half. What got into you, Kobe? And he said, Rudy Gay asked me if I was okay. So,
Mamba mentality, 100%.
That's incredible. I mean, I know this was supposed to be a story about Rudy Gay on his Player Tribune, but I was just locked in on this Kobe Bryant story because that is incredible.
And Derrick Rose had one like that,
Which
too,
is
in a retirement
reminiscent.
setting.
Sure, yeah.
He had one where he said Kobe just totally played a mind game with him. The first 3 years of his career, he never went out. He never did this. He never did that. But the entire time, Kobe was still quietly going out. He's like, I'm trying to be like Kobe. But Kobe's still doing business ventures. And Derrick Rose said, I thought I could not do any of that to be great. But yet you could.
He's incredible.
It's reminiscent of that play of Matt Barnes trying to scare Kobe with the ball, and he never blinked.
Yes, the flinch. Yes, the non-flinch, rather.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, just an incredible
You will never get
player.
in my head.
No, not a chance.
And Brian, I tried, and there were others in this market that tried to defend Rudy Gay. There were some that made some really big reputations on crushing him on every slip up. And at that time, I tried to make the case there are just very few people that can walk planet Earth that can average scoring 18, 19 points in an NBA game. Why do you want to get rid of it? And that was at a time when the Grizzlies really could struggle a lot of nights to get in the 90s to score a lot of points. But it got loud, and a lot of people, and there's some that really got a big reputation on. I got Rudy Gay driven out of here. Yay, way to go! I hope you're proud. He ended up retiring today, 1,120 NBA games and averaging 16 points.
It's crazy. I mean, averaging
I hope
16
they're happy.
points. That's crazy. I love
Couple
Rudy
of them
Gay.
pure D punks.
I'm sure. I love Rudy Gay and just his time as a Grizzly. You know, I just loved watching him play, and I loved watching him.
But some weren't going to be happy till they drove him out of
Of course
town.
not.
They got it.
Of course not. No, always going to be those type of people out there. But
Brett, not piling on, but would you say that that's the greatest addition by subtraction as far as Grizzlies history? Because the team blossomed after he left.
Well, it could have blossomed with him, though.
Yeah, but it
If
wasn't
they had
working. No, why? But yeah, it just
was
seems
pretty
like
good.
the team got to the place they wanted to go afterwards. And I was a huge Rudy Gay fan, but it just seems like the team got to where they wanted to go, not win a championship, but after he left.
In Memphis, he averaged 20.1, 18.9, 19.6, 19.8, 19.0.
He was always
18.2.
good. He just never got us to the promised land. He was always good.
Yeah, no, he's a great player.
And who has gotten us to the promised land, though?
That's right. No, nobody.
I mean, Western Conference Finals.
Sure, yeah.
But that ain't promised land. That's pretty good depot, though.
It's pretty good land, but not
pretty good land.
Pretty good land.
Yeah.
But he might have been integral in keeping. But I fought that fight and I lost because couple clowns got him.
Hey, that's what happens. But definitely hats off to Rudy Gay announcing his retirement after 17 years.
Is he in the Raptors?
All-Star Chevrolet.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, what, Derry?
I said, does he go in the rafters?
I'm not sure. At All-Star Chevrolet, this is the time for the Chevy truck season sale going on right now at All-Star Chevrolet down Highway 78, first exit into Mississippi at Kraft Goodman Road. You're there where financing as low as 0%, now available at All-Star. Your Silverado can be payment-free through Christmas and New Year's. Your good credit deserves it, and you get it at All-Star Chevrolet, where all the Silverados and the Tahoes are. Incentives at All-Star on a new Equinox can get your price in the low 30s, even the 20s. If you're law enforcement, first responder, healthcare worker, military, you get $500 bonus back instantly. Check out the huge, and I'm talking huge, All-Star pre-owned section with all the brands, Silverados, Jeeps, Nissans, Toyotas, Ford SUVs. It looks like every pre-owned you can imagine is at All-Star, because it is. And if you got any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star, whether you bought it there or not, and you'll get the most money for it, and you'll get it fast at All-Star. Together, let's drive to All-Star Chevrolet for the Chevy truck season sale going on now. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Let's get to our final break of the day. When we come back, wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Sometimes you just want the naked facts, like the fun that comes from a quick and nimble 2024 Honda CB500F. This naked-style streetlight sports a narrow 471cc twin, along with a sleek TFT display, dual-disc front brakes, and standard ABS, all at an affordable price. Find fun in all the right places in the 2024 Honda CB500F. Available at DeSoto Honda, 5656 Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Hi, this is Troy Five Ash, owner of Five Ash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a mother pheasant plucker, I pluck mother pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Five Ash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every dollar you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Rose off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
All 24-month lease, $650 acquisition fee, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte RE 834-938, MSRP 22,615, Telluride RG 56,3000, MSRP 40,805, Sportage S73 40278, MSRP 29,135, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax title and license, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 10/31/2024 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Hey, Jeff Allen, are you ready to give the Mid-South your best deal ever at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah?
I'm always ready, Randy. Gas prices got you down? How about 41 MPG highway in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS at $233.86 a month? $34.99 do it signing. 2025 Kia Sport is $269 per month. $34.99 do it signing. And get ready for the holidays and hit the road in a 2024 Kia Telluride S, $408.62 per month. $39.99 do it signing. All 24-month lease.
Plus, all those bad boys come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Or online anytime at KiaMountMoriah.com.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone, call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill and I buy houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available, convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway and the Park Place Center, Poplar Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli is wholesome food and no surprises.
this is pretty cool, and we're just getting started. So.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is the White Sox have hired a new manager. Will Venable will be the new manager for the Southsiders. He played 8 years in the majors before retiring and got into coaching. He's been with the Cubs, the Red Sox, and most recently, the associate head coach for the Rangers. So, he's been around the game. Has been around at some very high levels with the Rangers and what they did a year ago, winning the World Series. So I do think this is a good hire for the White Sox. And, I guess it can't get any worse than what it was last year. So, I mean, only up from here. So, I don't know. I haven't gotten a gauge on the feel of Chicago fans and how they feel about the hiring. But, we'll see what happens. I think a good hire.
What I learned today is what about those meatheads at Yankee Stadium last night that pried the ball loose from Mookie Betts?
How about that?
And now they're famous, making the rounds on New York talk radio. Goodness gracious, to make that bunch famous, and they're not going to be barred from anything. If they went to that game tonight, there's no way somebody would know who they are and keep them out.
Nobody would recognize them.
How were they not arrested?
It's a good question, but kicked out last night, and I guess
some of our callers were wondering why they weren't arrested.
Come on, he's fine, but at the end of the day, once you realize Mookie is fine, I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, I get it. Kick him out of the game. I'm with that. I'm definitely for them kicking out of the game, and then not back tonight. But hey, Brett, if they do try to get in tonight and somehow they're caught, then they'll be arrested. So, I guess, try it out tonight and see what happens, boys. What I could have done without, it's been the Anthony Richardson saga in Indianapolis. It's just been really, really weird. Last year, starts the season, everybody, after seeing the first game or two, they say he's been fantastic. He's fantastic. He's doing it. He's got it. Then he gets injured. He's out for the rest of the season. And now back this year, already one injury. He comes back, and it feels like you see 4 plays of just, oh, man, what are you doing? And then you see one play of, I've never seen a player do that on a football team. That was fantastic. And it's just a lot of, it's been a roller coaster so far for him. So they made the decision, put him on the bench. Joe Flacco will be the starter. I think this was kind of a, desperate decision on their part. They're sitting 4-4 right now. They still have a lot to play for. Maybe they think the veteran Joe Flacco gives them a better opportunity to maybe make a run and maybe make the playoffs.
You know what is stunning about being at a game where there's that whole row of NFL scouts? Now, they get there really early. They work hard. I'm not running them down, but they get there early, and they love to go down on the field pregame and really watch like all the pregame stuff. Then every one of them, they all leave in mass at the end of the third quarter. It's like they're allergic to traffic. I mean, they always are all trying to get out of it. None of them ever stay to the end of the game. I got to beat the traffic.
I've seen enough. Click the pin.
What if you see something late in the game or miss something late in the game?
Yeah,
what I could have done without Bryant, proof someone will always take a job. Will Venable, without being tortured, willfully signed up to coach the 121-loss Southsiders. 121 losses. He signed up willfully. Nobody made him.
Do we know that, though, yet, Brett? Do we know that it was, he did it on his own will and, it was hoorah?
Well, I hope it doesn't violate Geneva Convention Accords. Hope he wasn't tortured.
I hope not either. But, again, we're talking about a really, really bad White Sox team.
Really bad. Epically bad.
Epically bad. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to Game 5 of the World Series. Let's see if the underdog and underwhelming so far underwhelming Yankees can put some pressure on the Dodgers. Hit the ball last night, maybe last night woke up Aaron Judge a little bit.
Might have, and he's been a guy that is that's been disappointing in this postseason for full. I'll be honest, when we did, and I forgot to mention this, in case anybody questioned me on why, if I didn't have or if I considered having Aaron Judge in my top 4 for the Yankees, I wrote down, "Hey Aaron, do it in the playoffs." I mean, you got to do it in
Never
the
entered
playoffs
my
at some
mind.
point. Good, because I was worried that somebody was gonna text in or something. Aaron Judge has been great for them. Set the home run record. No, do it in the playoffs. I mean, let's see it then. But yeah, I think maybe
I would have had Tony Kubek in there ahead of Aaron Judge.
I love that. But we'll see tonight. That's going to be a big game. Does last night's Yankees return tonight and maybe make this series closer? Do the guys show up from last night back tonight and try to get arrested? A lot to see.
I would have had Phil Rizzuto in there ahead of Aaron Judge.
I like that.
I like that.
And in just case
Got
there's
two
been
college
no Will
football
and Brent.
games tonight.
Brent and Will Venables,
Two college
no relations.
football games tonight.
Okay.
One lost Liberty at home against Rich Rod. Grizzlies at FedEx Forum against Brooklyn, 11.5-point favorite. 11 NBA games tonight.
Let's go. Whole lot of NBA basketball. It's going to be a fun night. Like Brett mentioned, you've got the Yankees and the Dodgers in baseball. You got the football. You got the basketball. Should be a ton of fun. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with a Z. Good food fast.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right